How's everyone doing today? Hope you're all fantastic. Chill vibes. Brought to us by Almighty Arceus. I'm going to post the link in the Discord. And I'll post it in the chat as well. If you want to check them out, they make pretty good chill lo-fi remixes of songs. We're going to get started real soon, folks, all right? Real soon. Howdy. How's everyone doing today on this fine Thursday evening? We are here. We are back with another episode of the Fair 64 live show. That's right. We are here, and we are going to talk about everything that happened during the not E3 week that we just had. Everyone and their mother had showcases. We talked about the state of play last episode, so if you want to get caught up on that, boom, bada bing, go over there. But for today, we got some good stuff here for you folks. And by good stuff, I mean I'm probably going to complain about these showcases because I wasn't too crazy about them. But I'm going to try and be as positive as I can be because I know there's a lot of stuff for a lot of people here. But today's topics, we got the Summer Games Fest, Day of the Devs, Xbox Showcase, Nintendo Direct recap as well, along with, ooh yeah, I binged the Among Us TV show for this episode right here. Please clap. We also have Onimusha, Way of the Sword, demo. I've been playing Kingdom Hearts and Project Mara under some hot water. And by hot water, I mean completely gone. So yeah, should be a pretty decently sized show. Usually these showcases take like 5 years to do. But boom, huge announcement, folks. All right. I know I haven't had too many guests on the podcast, at least within the past couple years now. And I was extremely honored to get a direct message from the man himself. And he said that he wanted to join the show for this conversation. So let's give it up for Jeff Cayley. Did I get you? No, we don't have. Jeff Cayley's not here, but it would be pretty cool if that did happen. That would be pretty cool. All right, so we got Summer Games Fest. We're going to start with Summer Games Fest right now. To anyone who is watching this on Spotify or YouTube after the fact, for some reason the auto chapters aren't updating on every single episode, so I apologize about that. I've been planning on going back through them and time stamping them. I just haven't had time. So if you are going back through this episode, there may or may not be timestamps. I guess we'll find out. All right, so let's go ahead and start off with the Summer Games Fest, which is playing in the background. I'll probably just keep that in the background for this entire section because, you know, Summer Games Fest, it was like 2 hours long. But it all opened up with Resident Evil Veronica, which is a remake of Code Veronica, and this is coming out early 2027. I believe it's coming out in February. Resident Evil has been chugging away, chugga. We've been getting games pretty consistently every year, or about every year. And this one, I mean, they didn't show much about it, and also I have not played Code Veronica, so I don't have a place to start from this one. But from what they showed, looked good. You know, I had no problems with what they showed off. I think the game looks good, as most games do in the RE engine, which is like one of the best engines in gaming right now. There's really not much to say, though, other than that, because the trailer, I mean, you know, even though it was, like, fine, which is, it's probably not going to load. Oh, here it is. It did look, like, once again, it looked impressive. Like, it looked pretty much like, almost lifelike, I would say, but, like, not completely lifelike. You know, it's as lifelike as they can get with a video game, right? So the one thing that I thought was actually quite interesting is the fact that the game itself, they actually came out with this afterwards. It's not going to be in first-person mode, even though you're in first-person here, and it might just be for this sequence of events. Maybe you're not even playing as Claire in this section, per se. Yeah, it's one of those things where they are planning on making the entire game third person instead of being back and forth. So we'll see what happens there, though. But I'm very interested in playing this because I've never played this one before, and I am a little bit apprehensive because the last one that I did not play before playing the remake was Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil 3 remake. A lot of people say probably the worst out of the bunch, like worst relatively. Maybe it's not a bad game per se, but it's a bad remake of the original Resident Evil 3 experience. So I hope that they learned their lesson from Resident Evil 3 remake, and hopefully this is more attuned to what people want from a Code Veronica remake. But we'll, of course, have to wait and see. But you don't have to wait too long. I mean, about a half a year. That's not too bad at all for the next Resident Evil game. We just had Resident Evil 9, which knocked it out of the park. So I have a lot of faith in this, and it is pretty cool that all these things are coming together, right? So we'll look out for that one next year. Like I said, I think it's going to be early. It just says 2027 here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be early 2027, probably in that February range, maybe even like March. But also, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Also, good thing to note here, releasing day one on Switch 2, which is pretty cool. So there you go. It's almost like we don't need a Nintendo Direct with, when they put those logos down there. Let's see here. Next up, we have Cuphead. So Cuphead had two special things. So there is going to be a Cuphead sequel. They had this pretty fun little like puppetry kind of thing going on for the announcement. I thought that was pretty cool. And at the end of it all, they teased another game, and they were like, oh, well, I guess you have to wait and see what that's all about. But then they were like, no, you can actually see right now what this one is about. And boom, bada bing, Cuphead Adventure, Mighty Cuphead Adventure. This is coming out, when did they say? 2026. No, wait, no. It's coming eventually. I don't think it's 2026. But they definitely wanted to mimic like the old Sonic the Hedgehog trailers from the past, and the game also does have like a bit of a Mega Drive / Genesis kind of vibe to it, I guess I would say. So I mean, this is cool. I think this will really tide people over until we do get the next official Cuphead, because these types of games with their 8-bit kind of art style are much more easy to develop in general, right? Instead of like animating each frame and all that stuff, like this is a lot easier for them to put time into, pump it out, make a little bit extra money on the side while also funding their main endeavor. And of course, I think they've been kind of cushy with the TV show coming out to Netflix and the DLC releasing for the original Cuphead. Like they've had time to really not have to worry about money per se, but they can get to work on the next one. And it's probably going to be a while until we see the sequel to Cuphead in any form. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's a cute little thing, and I'm interested to see what they do with that. Mighty Cuphead Adventurer. Next up was the teaser for Alien Isolation 2. You know me, I'm not a huge fan of the original Alien Isolation, and I know that that's like a bit of a hot take. It just doesn't gel with me per se. I've tried to play it at least 4 times now, and usually I get about an hour or two in, and I go, yeah, it's just not my my cup of tea, I suppose. I mean, I like the game. I respect it for what it is, but also at the same time, I just not super interested in it. Alien Isolation 2, there's already been previews that have been put out for this game, and a lot of people are saying, like, hey, if you liked Alien Isolation 1, this one essentially is Alien Isolation 1 again, but of course they've beefed it up a bit. So it seems like they've brought back that really good Xenomorph AI. It seems like they're probably going to expand on a lot of things that the original game had. As you know, I don't have a lot of perspective of the first game, but I can imagine it's going to have that same level of fear and anxiety that the first one induced during gameplay. The other thing too is the fact that it looks great. I mean, the alien itself looked really good. Am I 17 or older? No. Just gonna skip ahead to when the alien shows up because that's like the main thing there. But yeah, the alien looks really cool. And I think the game is gonna be good too. It does look like it's on a bit more of like a desolate planet type thing instead of it being just a single facility. So it's possible that we'll have multiple xenomorphs or this single xenomorph is going to follow you around. It's hard to say at this point. But it is kind of a cool idea to have like a compound that you're going around, or maybe a part of a planet that you're going around, instead of it just being that one facility that you were in the first game. It was a ship, right? It was a spaceship. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a bit more open in a lot of ways. So that is Alien Isolation 2. Next up, we had the reveal of the next game from the same guy who did Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. This game is going to be called Gen Atlas, and this one looks pretty freaky. I mean, they start off and it seems very Shadow of the Colossus like, where he gets on like a robot and blah blah blah, he's climbing up and whatever. But then they show like the rest of it, and there's like these like little creatures that chase you around, and there's like this head that you're putting on different robots. So that's probably how you get to the different areas. And I'm guessing that you need to charge up that robot head and then take out the main like robot boss of the area. And I think that it's a really interesting idea, keeping the core of what made Shadow of the Colossus really unique, while also adding in a new flair. And also, of course, it's very sci-fi heavy. You have giant robot heads and stuff like that, giant robot bodies. So yeah, this one seems pretty cool. If you notice there, it is not coming to Steam, or at least not right away. It only had the logo for Epic Games, PlayStation, and Xbox. So I am wondering if it will, one, come to Switch 2, or two, actually come to Steam. Maybe there's going to be some sort of like exclusivity deal with Epic Games for like a year. Hard to say, but as of right now, though, I think it's looking interesting. And I think that the idea could work. But we'll see what happens. You know, I'm not huge on Shadow of the Colossus, right? I played through it. I liked half the game, but then there was another half of the game that I wasn't too crazy about. Just personal opinions, obviously. And I'm hoping with this one that it mixes up that gameplay formula just enough that it gives me what I kind of wanted from Shadow of the Colossus, but with giant robots. That's all I'm saying. And at this point in the showcase, I was actually relatively excited. I was like, damn, we're getting cool things one after the other. Resident Evil, Cuphead, Alien Isolation, Gen Atlas, and after that, things started to get a little bit wonky. There was a game called Blood Message that they showed off, and I think the one thing that is a bit annoying about the current gaming landscape is that everything needs to be like feudal Japan or feudal China or whatever, right? That we have so many games that look almost exactly like this, from Sekiro to Dynasty Warriors to et cetera, et cetera. And we have a bunch of them coming out like this year, like Onimusha and Phantom Blade Zero. And it's not like I don't want this game, right? It's not like I think that they should just give up and not make this game. I think it looks pretty cool from the CGI trailer that we got, because none of this is fucking gameplay, mind you. I also am kind of like burnt out on this style of game because we've had so many of these games recently, and you can only I'm sure that there's plenty of people who will play this and won't even bat an eye, right? But after playing through Ghost of Yotei, I was kind of like, okay, this style is kind of getting old on me, and I think that kind of impacted my enjoyment of that game, because I'm just kind of burnt out of this style. Now, will I play Onimusha eventually in the future? Yes, I'm actually more so leaning towards buying that one day one, but I'm trying to resist the urge because there's a lot of games coming out in September and October, but also at the same time, like, yeah, you're gonna have to do something really different in order for me to like really be bought in on your game. So Blood Message, I wish you all the luck. We'll see more of it as we get closer to when they're planning on releasing the game. The problem though is that yes, this was pretty much an entirely CGI trailer. There wasn't actually gameplay in this that I could see. And you might say like, oh, right here, this is gameplay. No, this is not gameplay. This is definitely like a cutscene. Boom, right here. This is not gameplay. This is a cutscene. Boom, right here. Cutscene. Boom, right here. Oh, this looks like gameplay, right? No, this is definitely a cutscene or a moment in the game where you don't have control over your character. So it's one of those things where it's like I like the idea, and I think that this is a really nice looking trailer, but at the end of the day, it's not actual gameplay. It's not the actual game, so it's hard for me to get super excited. So that's like half of the problem. The other half of the problem is like, yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah, the feudal stage of like all these different Asian countries. It's kind of the aesthetic is kind of getting a little bit old for me. I kind of want something a bit different at this point, but that's just how it goes. All right, next up. I almost debated not even talking about this, but I'm a trooper. I'm here for the people. Stranger Than Heaven had one of the most bizarre trailers I have ever fucking seen. This game is coming out January 15th, and I was very like, I think the game in general looks good. I talked about the showcase they did a while back. That looked fine. I think the game itself is going to be fine. This is coming from the same guy who did Yakuza, so you kind of know what to expect with this one. My main issue is like, well, I should say the other thing is like, yeah, I mean the game is a cool concept. You start out as like a younger version of yourself, and then you flash forward to like the future version of yourself. It's really weird to see Snoop Dogg in this. I have some issues with Snoop Dogg, but the more crazy thing is this right here. It's Tupac. Tupac is in the game, and it's just weird, right? And this is just really, really weird. I don't listen to Tupac. I respect him as an artist, et cetera, et cetera. But also at the same time, why do we need this? It doesn't make sense. Like, the whole idea of this doesn't make sense. You could make an argument for Snoop Dogg being in the game. he's still alive. He can still voice his character, right? But Tupac is here, and it's like, what are we gonna do with this character? Are we gonna have an AI voice that's trained off of his voice? Are we gonna have an actor portraying Tupac? Is he not gonna say anything at all? Also, why did his estate let him get into this game? Probably because they pushed a lot of money their direction. So it was just a weird commercial trailer, and then also they had Snoop Dogg on stage talking about his new development studio, and it's like, no, we don't need to talk about Snoop Dogg's development studio. Like, let's save that for when Snoop Dogg actually has a game, right? Say what you want about Snoop Dogg as a person, like, we don't need to focus on him. He's on stage, which is fine, but it's like, we don't need to focus on Snoop Dogg because you literally have the developer of the game on the stage. Talk to him, right? This is his game. This is not Snoop Dogg's game. This is the developer and director of Yakuza. This is his game. But no, we're spending 5 minutes talking to Snoop Dogg about his new development studio, co-owned by his son, and it's like, I muted the stream at that point because I just don't want to hear this. Like, I don't care. I've already talked about the controversy surrounding Snoop Dogg, but at the end of the day, just weird. This did not sell the game for me. I'm also not a super big fan of the Yakuza series in general, but it was pretty much from this reveal onward that I was kind of losing it on this showcase. Next up, we got a game called Hex, which is made by the same people who made The Division. This one's supposed to be coming out in 2027. This was another one of those trailers where it was really just a weird one. There really wasn't anything super straightforward about it. There's like these blocks and this like giant wall that appears out of nowhere and chases down the people. It's a first-person like survival kind of game. It has like mutants in it or whatever. I think there's a lot of interesting visual flair in this game, and I do appreciate that it's a three-person co-op game, but also at the same time I kind of want to know more about it. Like, the trailer doesn't really show me anything that's super interesting, in all honesty. I guess you get the general gist of it, but it's like, I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, okay, we have boost jumps and we have guns and we have really crazy, control-esque, looking things. And I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like, I need to wait for like a full deep dive of this one, because there's really, like, what they showed was like cool, but also at the same time, like, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, what am I looking at here, right? So Hex, I think they're actually calling it Hex, right? Hex. That is coming in 2027, so keep an eye out on that one. Also, not Ninja Gaiden, Team Ninja revealed that they are still working on The Last Ronin, which is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game based off of the comic book The Last Ronin. It's essentially where Raphael is the last turtle standing, and he has all the weapons of the different turtles, and he uses them to defeat Shredder. This is Platinum Games, not Team Ninja. I apologize. It's Platinum Games. I mean, it's nice to know that they're still working on it. It's nice to know that it's going to come eventually, but there was really nothing with this trailer. It was just like, hey, we're still working on this. It's like, cool, great. You could have just posted this on Twitter. The reveal kind of falls a little bit flat for me personally, because it's like, yeah, we've known about this for quite some time, and no, we haven't heard a lot about it since whenever. But like, you want to come with like a little bit of gameplay, maybe a little bit of something. I mean, obviously they've been working on this for a while. But I mean, for a re-reveal, I mean, I guess it's not horrible. I think it's more than what we got last time, which was literally just the title. There's not much here, which is why like I'm excited for it, but also I'm not like stoked, right? We're getting a new Gundam game. This is coming in 2027. it's been a long time since I watched Gundam, I will say. But I believe this is like a third-person action game, something like that. A lot of these trailers kind of start to mesh together in my head. So we're gonna get explosive, fast-paced battles set in sprawling environments, with players taking on enemy hordes, massive bosses, and seemingly insurmountable challenges set against an engaging sci-fi backdrop. For Gundam fans, the title promises to deliver an emotionally charged moment, unforgettable action that they have made the series one of the most beloved in entertainment franchise history. That comes from IGN. Yeah, I mean this is it's another CG trailer, which is not a terrible thing for Gundam, because I think Gundam on its face value is like one of those series that a lot of people just will automatically be like, oh, Gundam, cool. I guess there was a little gameplay here. Kind of reminds me of Armored Core a little bit, which I'm sure is what they're trying to emulate. I mean, it makes sense. It's Gundam, and Armored Core is literally just like Gundam. But yeah, I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the future. But as of right now, that's that. We got a trailer for a game called Crossfire. This was another one that was like kind of interesting looking. It's like this third-person shooter where they have this new system where the characters actually will hide behind cover kind of realistically, where it's like, okay, the cover is not like just flat. Like, it's not like Gears of War where you just kind of budge up against a wall and you're like, fine. So the character will like crouch and weave their way around the different formations that are in the terrain and allow you to go around them, which I think is a cool idea. There's some sort of weird abilities in this one as well that your characters have. So it's not just the shooter. Like, I think only the one guy can go invisible, and the girl has like I don't know, red fists. I'm not sure what that's all about, but I think the concept is kind of cool, right? I think that this probably will be a cool game. This is supposed to come probably next year, 2027, I'm gonna guess. But I mean, at least we got some gameplay there. We had some information on this one. I think it looks fine. I'm sure it'll look fantastic when we actually see like a full level in motion. But I think the most interesting thing is this cover technology, where the character is weaving and bobbing through various bits of cover in a more realistic way. And we'll see what this whole like Death Stranding-esque kind of thing is like as well, that's going on with the game. As of right now, though, we have little bits and pieces of information, and I'm not expecting to get like an entire presentation, or at least during this, like an entire like thesis and theory around the game. Like, that's not what I'm expecting. But I think the trailer like this is fine. Like, a trailer like this is good. A trailer like Last Ronin or Hacks needs a little more to it. Guild Wars 3. This is coming out in fall of 2027. There's a beta in fall of 2027. This one is coming to PC and PS5. Right now, no mention of other platforms. Not a big Guild Wars fan. I know it's an RTS. I'm sure it's a very long-awaited and beloved, whatchamacall, RTS, but I have not played a single one of these. So it's kind of hard for me to get hyped behind this one, but I am excited for people who are fans of Guild Wars 3. At least you got something there. Virtua Fighter Crossroads. Yes, that is the name of the next Virtua Fighter game. This one is coming out in 2027. The trailer was a little bit long for this one. They showed off like the story and whatnot, which is fine. I'm not going to complain about that per se, but yeah, I mean, it looked good. I mean, I don't know. Do I really need to like go through this trailer? It was a lot of like, okay, here's like the cool action shots between the fighting, right? I think it'd be more interesting to see like, which I guess they kind of had like that little beta thing that they did so you could test out the fighting. So it makes sense that they did a story trailer for this one. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the future on Virtua Fighters Crossroads, coming 2027. RuneScape Dragon Wilds. This is coming September 15th, I believe. Is coming early access. It's coming across a lot of different platforms, including Switch 2, which we'll talk about later. This is the first RuneScape that made it the jump to consoles in history. Wow. Very exciting. Mafia: The Old Country is getting an expansion called Man of Honor. This one was a really funny trailer because they had this whole build-up, this entire thing going on, and it's like, okay, it's Mafia, it's the Old Country. It's like, okay, what is it going to be, like some big reveal? Like it's gonna be like, I don't know, a character that we know and love, and it's like, I think it's just a regular white Italian. Like I don't know, like I don't know what to do with this information. Like it's just a guy smoking a cigar, and maybe I'm not in depth enough with the Mafia lore to really get hyped about this. But I feel like no one really knew who this was, right? Like there was nothing here. So at the end of the day, Reactbot, what do you got to say?
Next video.
Thank you. Yeah, this is coming out August 14th. But yeah, generic Italian white man. 1666 Amsterdam. This one looked really cool. And I liked the vibe. It's very much going for this really off the wall, like very interesting design. I thought the combat looked kind of cool. You're playing as like a witch who's tracking down what's this in whatchamacalls. There is a demo available for this one on Steam. The problem is that there's this weird AI generated image thing going on with the game right now. They had AI on the cover of the game that they showed, and then they have AI littered throughout the demo as well for like pictures and stuff like that. And this is just something that I like at this point. I'm just like, I'm hands off. Anything that has AI in it, I'm not supporting, no matter how cool the game looks. You know, look, I made an exception for Expedition 33, and maybe I shouldn't have. But from here on out, I'm pretty much like, hey, if you got AI in your game, doesn't matter if you're going to replace it in the future at this point, because the AI is there. And they definitely didn't look like placeholders, right? It looked like stuff that was finished in the game. And they even said so as much in a Twitter post. They were like, oh, yeah, we're totally going to replace this. But you know that they probably weren't going to replace it unless people noticed. People, of course, did notice because it's a hot topic right now. And now they're going to replace it. But it's like, well, would you have replaced that if people didn't catch you doing it? I don't know. But that's that. 1666 Amsterdam. Check it out if you want. Next up, Saw Genesis. I want to play a game. This is a 3v1 game based on the Saw franchise, which I think is pretty cool. This was one of the moments in the showcase that I was like, okay, that's pretty hype. You know, we didn't see a lot of what this was going to be, but it does seem to be some sort of like 1920s-ish type timeline, like type area for the game to be in. Yeah, so essentially you play as a mastermind, and you control traps and whatnot, and 3 people have to try and get through these traps and survive, right? And obviously we didn't get gameplay with this one. It was a CG, like just a CG trailer, which I think it's fine. Once again, Saw IP is big enough to be like, okay, you can just do a bit of a CG trailer, minimal gameplay there, and you're fine. It has been quite a while since we've had a Saw video game. The last one was in the Xbox 360 era, and those games weren't very well received. So much so that a copy of either one of those games is going to run you about $80 used, because they were just not sold. Like the copies weren't sold and whatnot. So, yeah, I think this is going to be kind of cool, especially like a 3v1 kind of thing. And we'll see how it is. You know, we'll see how it is. I'm sure it'll be a pretty cool game. So that is that. Saw Genesis, not spelled with a Y, thank goodness, like the Terminator movie. Lords of the Fallen 2. Did you know that Lords of the Fallen 2 is coming out? I bet you didn't. Even though we see it at every single fucking showcase. I'm kind of over it at this point. Like, we got it. It's coming. We get it. Cool. Am I interested in this game? Yes, I think it's going to be a fine game. The reboot of Lords of the Fallen was okay. I didn't like fall in love with it. This one looks like it's a bit more of the same, so I don't know if I'm going to grab this one day one. And the more they show off of it, it's not like I'm getting more and more interested. But at the end of the day, it's coming out. Lords of the Fallen 2, it is coming. And technically, this is Lords of the Fallen 3, but, they rebooted the franchise. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about this other than game's coming in fall, and it's coming to pretty much every platform. Pretty much every platform. All right, this was a bit of a surprise. Star Wars Zero Company. This is a game based on the Star Wars IP. Looks like it's going to be during the Clone Wars era of the Star Wars saga. And this is coming out really soon, August 27th. And for like a bit of a shadow drop here almost for this trailer, that's pretty cool. So if you don't know what this game is, it is an XCOM-like RTS kind of game where you have a squad of characters and you fight through legions of droids. And of course, this has like a permadeath system. So if a character dies, they have to be replaced, and you have to work that new character up to the level that your other character was. I think this is gonna be pretty cool. We haven't really had a Star Wars game in this genre in quite a while. I don't think we've ever had a Star Wars game that's like this per se, kind of XCOM like. But it will be very interesting to play this one and see what they do with this one. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they have a good variety of characters and troops and stuff like that. So yeah, I think this will be cool, especially for the people who like these kind of games. I think it'll be really cool. And also, if you're a fan of Star Wars, obviously. Like you're gonna probably be pretty hyped about this one as well, because it does look like it's gonna be a fun time. But it is more of a niche genre with the XCOM style. But at the same time, I think that it being a Star Wars game, it's probably not going to be as hardcore as those regular like XCOM type games. It's probably going to be a bit more laid back for some things. There's probably going to be some accessibility options you can use to make sure maybe your characters don't permadie or whatever, right? Because like you look at other Star Wars games that emulate like the Souls-like genre with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, like those games are Souls-like lights, right? So I feel like this one's going to be a bit of like an XCOM light kind of thing. Maybe there'll be higher difficulties modes. I don't know, but I think it'll be pretty cool. I think it's a pretty fair price at $60. But yeah, it's coming out October 27th, which is not too far away. Not too far away at all. Next up, we got Blood of the Dawnwalker. This is going to be a cool game. I can already tell this is going to be a cool game. I don't know why there's two different trailers here. I'm not sure why.
Peggy 18.
Holy shit. I thought the trailer was really cool. And I don't know if this means that we'll be going back and forth between modern times and the past, or maybe the story is going to be told through the lens of this vampire who's still alive in modern times. But the first the trailer that they showed off was actually really cool, because an Amazon, not like an Amazon driver, but like a person like delivering blood came to the house. He gave the package to the vampire. He gets his powers back because he gets blood. Pretty cool there. And I like the idea of that trailer.
Peggy.
Oh my God. And then this next part of the trailer just kind of showed off more of the characters that are coming to the game. But yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty cool experience. Ever since we first saw this game, it's been looking pretty cool. And coming from the same people who did The Witcher 3, not CD Projekt Red, but people who were splintered off from that Witcher 3 development, not too bad, not too shabby there. So we'll see more about that one in the future. This one's coming out September 3rd, added to the list of games coming out in September. Next up, Among Us is getting a new spin-off game called On Guard, which honestly I'm kind of down for. Like, I think that it's going to be. I mean, it's different, right? It's a different kind of experience. The only thing about Among Us is like, okay, has it run its course fully? Like, are people actually going to play this game? And I think yes. I think people will play this game. I think enough people are going to be interested in this one simply because it's a little bit of a goofy murder mystery kind of thing going on. I think the art style is really cute. It's different from the original Among Us game. And then also during the showcase, they had an Among Us TV show trailer type thing, which I'll talk about later, of course. But yeah, I think this is actually like one of those announcements that I was like surprised like that they're doing something like this, a narrative Among Us adventure. And the more I thought about it, because originally I was like, oh, that's kind of weird, that's kind of dumb. But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, that's actually a good idea, like using the IP, because the IP, like the characters from Among Us, say what you want about like how simple they are. People love them, right? People love the Among Us vibe. People like the Among Us character designs. So moving away from these character designs would probably be a bad idea. While also at the same time, it's recognizable. You don't want to just like start from scratch with a new IP. Like even though it's coming from the same people as Innersloth, like it's going to be something different. It's not going to have the same appeal as Among Us would. So I do think that Innersloth has kind of trapped themselves in the Among Us hole. I don't think they'll be able to do anything other than Among Us for quite some time, if ever. But also at the same time, like, hey, if you're making money and the games are good, it doesn't really matter to me, right? And we haven't had another game from Innersloth that I know of since Among Us. They were going to do an Among Us 2, but then they decided to cancel that because it's like, yeah, why would you do an Among Us 2? Just work on the Among Us game that everyone bought during COVID, right? So I think that, yeah, it's taken them a bit of time to put out something else. But also they've been working really hard on the original Among Us game. Like, and I don't think Among Us is dead by any means, but it definitely doesn't have the same player base that it once had. But I do think that people still enjoy the game enough. I think that it's still pretty popular in that sense. And I think it's also still pretty popular with kids too. And I think this game will do fine. It looks like there is going to be a PC and a Nintendo Switch port. So you can get it on those two places. I did not see if it was going to be anywhere else. But it also, like, they have this branding Among Us story. So it's possible that we'll get more of these like little spin-off games just with different monk ears on them. So this one's On Guard. So maybe the next one will be Very Sus. I don't know. Monster Hunter. See, I would, if this was a recorded episode, pre-recorded, I would cut that. Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance is a DLC coming in 2027 to Monster Hunter Wilds. I don't give a shit. Moving on. Hot Wheels Infinite Rush. This one is coming September 24th, going right up against Control Resonant, Wolverine, freaking Onimusha, Silent Hill. Like, Hot Wheels Infinite Rush, they're getting their fists into the gauntlet. They're like, yeah, fuck yeah, we're gonna take all the fucking sales from all these other two games, right? I honestly, like, yes, it's kind of goofy that they're releasing on this day this game. It's an open world Hot Wheels game, probably kind of like like a Forza or something like that, in the style of a Hot Wheels racing game. It actually might be a really good idea to release in this time frame because Onimusha rated M, Silent Hill rated M, Wolverine rated M, Control Resident rated M. This game's gonna be rated E10 at the most, right? So I think it's actually a good time to release because all these parents are going to be like, well, all these games are rated M. I can't give little Jimmy Onimusha, but Hot Wheels Infinite Rush might be a good idea. I don't know. Will I be buying Hot Wheels Infinite Rush? Well, folks, I'll be the first to tell you because I am a source here. No. Maybe when it's on sale, because I mean I do like the Hot Wheels games. I think the last two Hot Wheels racing games have been good. Like I actually relatively enjoyed the sequel to I don't even remember what it's called at this point. Unleashed, Hot Wheels Unleashed or whatever. But I'm not gonna go out and spend $50 on a Hot Wheels game, right? I'll either get it for free when it comes to one of those platforms for free, or I'll buy it for like $20 down the road. But I am interested in at least trying it out eventually down the road. But this is a good idea for kids, not a great idea for adults because adults, we play the big games, and yeah, I'm sure there's some adults who are excited about this. I don't want to minimize anyone's enjoyment of Hot Wheels, but also like, yeah, I mean, you really, I'm not going to pay $50 for a Hot Wheels game. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. But good luck. You're going to need it. Next up, we had another racing game called Clutch, and this is an open world racing game from the same people from developers who were working on Forza. This is coming out in 2027. I don't really have anything to say about this one. I'm sure it'll be fine. This is one of those things where it's like, I mean, it's a racing game. What can I really say about it? At least I actually had things to say about Hot Wheels because that was just kind of funny. But this, Clutch, I don't know. I don't know if I have anything to like really say about this. But there you go, clutch. This was a pretty big one for people who are fans on Attack on Titan. There is a third game in the series now, Attack on Titan 3. Hey, if a naming convention works, use it. I have not played any of the Titanfall games, not Titanfall, Attack on Titan games, but I'm sure it's gonna be great. I'm sure it's gonna be great. This is coming to pretty much every platform: PS5, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PC. Yeah, if you're a fan of the show, probably gonna enjoy this. I don't know if they follow the anime or manga per se, but you know, if you like Attack on Titan, you're gonna be interested in this no matter what I say. So like I shouldn't even be talking. But yeah, there you go. Attack on Titan 3, pretty big for people. Pal World 1.0. Oh boy, this is coming July 10th. This is releasing in 1.0. I believe it's coming to consoles now, so it's coming like PlayStation and stuff like that. You know what Pal World is. I don't need to really talk to you about that. This one was pretty big for me personally. Wolf Among Us 2 is coming in 2027, which I'm very excited about. We've been waiting a long time for this one, and now we're finally going to get back into the world of Fables, and we're going to see what happens with Bigby Wolf in the Wolf Among Us 2. The game is set 6 months after the original game, which isn't a lot of time. So we'll see what happens there. The one thing that I am very much hoping for with this game in general is a lot more choice in the matter. The original game, as much as I really enjoy The Wolf Among Us, like I enjoy that game a lot. And also for a Telltale game, it does have a fair amount of choices to make, especially at the end. It's all like with those Telltale games, it's always like I'm wanting a little bit more. I want a little bit more decision making here, a little bit more here and there. So hopefully they go a bit more into the choice of the matter for Wolf Among Us 2. But we'll wait and see. I mean, I love the Wolf Among Us. I've read through a lot of the Fable comic books, and it's a world that's very interesting to explore. And the original game did a great job of bringing those books to life in this form, and taking those characters and making them very palatable for a general audience, right? And I mean, look, The Wolf Among Us was a follow-up to The Walking Dead from Telltale Season 1, which is like one of those games that you don't touch because it's like you can't criticize this because it's like one of the goats, right, of narrative adventure games, right? But it's crazy because I've always preferred The Wolf Among Us over The Walking Dead, and that's a personal thing. So I am very interested in this. And also at the same time, they announced that The Wolf Among Us, the original one, is getting a remastered version, which is coming out in 2026, holiday of 2026. I will most likely be picking that one up because, look, I've played through The Wolf Among Us like 5 times at this point. I've gotten the Platinum Trophy on 3 different platforms. So I'll probably play through it again on the remastered version just to feel something again, because I really feel like, I mean, The Wolf Among Us 2 The Wolf Among Us came out. There was The Walking Dead. There was Borderlands. These are fine Telltale games, or good Telltale games. But there was a lot of like real crap that they put out. And I know there's people who defend Season 2 of The Walking Dead and Season 3. I'm not one of them. And then all the other like Telltale games up until like Guardians of the Galaxy just kind of was like, whatever. And a lot of people forget that there was a Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy game. I thought it was actually pretty good. But, once again, just me. Moving right along to Stellar Blade Blood Rain. This is the sequel to Stellar Blade. It has a much different vibe to it, being in this like Neo Tokyo world. The one thing I, of course, have to mention here is whether they're placeholders or not at this point in the trailer, there was AI-generated Chinese writing on the walls, which Mandarin speakers were able to discern as AI pretty quickly, which is disappointing because I think the game itself looks very, very good. And you don't get this Neo Tokyo kind of vibe too often, like done well too often at this point. But it does look like it's kind of taking after the original game with these like mutant monster type guys. And it looks like it's going to have more of a fisticuffs way to fighting instead of it being with a sword with the original Stellar Blade. So yeah, I think the game like looks good. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's gonna be a good game. It's just really unfortunate that they're using these like little placeholders, and like I said, maybe they are just for the trailer and they'll be replaced. Keep your pulse on that if you care about that stuff. Keep your pulse on it, your finger on the pulse, and we'll go from there. The other thing that people are very much in a bit of disagreement about is like, okay, the character is supposedly of age, right? Or like an age that is normal. But the model itself looks relatively young. I don't want to dive into this too much, but I also had the same thoughts of like, yeah, the character looks pretty young. And, with Stellar Blade, it was very much like a Gooner forward. And it was fine because Eve herself is an adult character, adult-looking character. It is a bit awkward seeing the ass shot on a character that looks like this, and I get it. The actor herself looks young too. I get it, right? I'm not trying to like dive into this conversation, but also at the same time, like, yeah, it's always been a bit awkward for me playing these kind of games where, it's like, oh, the character's technically 18, but they look like this, and it's like, I don't know, like it's weird, right? One of the main games that I originally played where it just made me really uncomfortable was one of those Oni Chambra games. I think it was called like Z Chaos. And there was one character who was just like, I mean, looked 14, right? But they had an outfit for her that was like a bikini or whatever, and I was like, I put the game down and I uninstalled it and sold it. I was like, fuck this shit. That's that's fucking wild. I don't think this is as extreme as that, okay? But also, like, I can see the one side of the conversation, right? I can see, like, the character does look young, it is a little bit awkward, of course, especially because they do, like, the ass shot. And if you know Stellar Blade, like, they were very much like, oh yeah, you look at the back of the character, so we made a lot of, we did a lot of attention to detail for the back of the character. Like, we know who's making this game. It's made by Gooners for Gooners, right? But the fucking annoying thing is like, yeah, the combat is really is really good. So it's like, I'm not a Gooner, but like at the same time, like the combat fucking slaps. So like, what am I supposed to do? But that's Stellar Blade Blood Rain. Not sure when this one is coming out. I'm going to guess it's going to come out next year. Also, interesting to note, the original Stellar Blade was PlayStation exclusive for like a year. This one does not have exclusivity to it, so it's probably going to come to pretty much every platform. We did see it in the Nintendo Direct as well. Next up, we have Street Fighter 6 Year 4 DLC characters. We are getting a character named Yasmin, Arjun, Bosch, and we're getting Tifa from Final Fantasy VII, which is pretty cool. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and like cream over this character roster because I don't know who any of these characters are because I'm not that big into Street Fighter. Like, I played Street Fighter 6, I played Street Fighter 5, I played Street Fighter 4. They're good fighting games. I don't get that invested in them, right? But hey, this is cool for people who are fans of Street Fighter, and we're getting a whole new wave of DLC. I also think that it's cool that Tifa is coming to the game, right? I think that's pretty cool, like a bit of a crossover character there, and it makes sense. Like, the character being in the game makes sense. So there you go, Street Fighter 6 DLC. And then there was the final reveal, which was Final Fantasy VII Revelation. That's right, you're about to suck Sephiroth off. Yeah, baby. Yeah, I mean, this was like one of those ending trailers where it's like, I'm so happy for the people who are big fans of Final Fantasy. Like, this is probably a huge ending for them. Me personally, I was like, yeah, it's cool. I mean, it looks good. Like, don't get me wrong, like, it looks amazing, graphically and whatnot. But this just isn't one of those games that I'm gonna like lose my mind over at the end of the showcase. But I'm sure there's plenty of people who were very excited about this, and I'm happy for them, right? I'm genuinely happy for them. Coming off of the remake game, I was kind of like, you know how I was. Like, I was just kind of like, whatever about the whole thing. I always try new things, and if Rebirth becomes free on PlayStation Plus, by the end of the year, I'll probably try it and see how it goes, right? But like I said, I'm not like super like hyped about this because this is one of those trilogies in gaming that just really isn't like it just really doesn't push my buttons, right? But this Final Fantasy VII Revelation coming next year, 2027. It's coming to every platform: Epic, Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch 2, which is nice to see. So there you go. That was the Summer Games Fest. Oh boy, they have a fucking picture of Snoop Dogg right there, huh? Jump scare. I personally wasn't too crazy about this. I mean, it started off really good. Like, there was a couple of announcements right in a row here that I was like really excited about, or at least interested in. And then it just kind of like meandered on for a while, and that's kind of what happens with a 2-hour long showcase. Like, you don't always get, like, obviously not everything is going to be for you or for me, right? But at the same time, like, a lot of these announcements were just kind of like not hitting in any way. I mean, I think the biggest like example of that is this Mafia: The Old Country expansion, where it's just like, yeah, what do I glean from this? What is this? Like, it's just a guy smoking a cigar. Like, you really need to spend time for this trailer? Like, I don't even think that like The Old Country sold that well to like have any hype behind a DLC for the game. Like, I played that and I forgot about it because it's like, yeah, it's a fucking Mafia game. It's a run of the mill Mafia story. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and cream my pants over generic white man fucking coming to Mafia: The Old Country. It's just not gonna happen, right? And then there's of course all the other like,
Or maybe
oh boy, hello. There's also all these other things surrounding this where it's like some of these games had AI usage, and some of these games were reveals that like I didn't really care about, because it's like, yeah, we know about this, we know about that. Like, it's cool that we're seeing another trailer for Blood of the Dawnwalker, but at this point it's like, I know what this game is going to be. Like, the trailer is cool, don't get me wrong, I like the trailer, but just release it in a different way. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, I get that you, for marketing purposes, you're gonna want to put your game trailer into the Summer Games Fest or something surrounding that main showcase, right? But also at the same time, like, do we need a 3-minute long trailer? Like, this opening trailer with DoorDash blood was good enough. Like, that would have been fine. Like, that would have been a cool thing. Like, just a reminder, like, hey, this is coming out. But no, we went into another trailer about with gameplay and stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. And then once again, Lords of the Fallen 2. Like, I'm so annoyed by these companies that just keep pushing the same game over and over and over and over and over again. It's like, look, dude, we get it. Lords of the Fallen 2, it's coming out. We've known that for like 2 years now at this point, right? We got the original trailer, I feel like, forever ago, and it's just popping up in every single showcase, and it's just getting a little bit annoying. I'm not any more sold on the game than I was already, because I played the original Lords of the Fallen. I played the reboot of Lords of the Fallen. It's like, it was just kind of like fine, you know? I can't get hyped about something like this because the other game is just like, nah, I'd rather play any other Souls-like, really. And of course, this series has its fans. I'm not trying to dissuade or put down anyone who's a fan of Lords of the Fallen, but at the same time, like, do we really need more trailers for this game? It's coming out. We get it. It's coming out. We needed more stuff like Star Wars Zero Company, or even like some of the trailers that were just CG with like Rise of the Ronin. So like, we need more stuff like that where it's like something new, something fresh, something that we haven't seen yet. Among Us story, On Guard, like, this is another thing where it's like, yeah, it's new, it's fresh, it's something cool. But instead we get tons of trailers of like games that we've already seen, or games that are getting new content, and it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like I get one half of it, but also the other half is like, I'm annoyed now. I'm annoyed while watching this. But anyway, all of that's to say, I think the Summer Games Fest was like a C tier at best. It had a couple things in there that I liked. It had a couple of, trailers that I thought were fun. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of fluff here. And then they also spent way too long talking to Snoop Dogg. Like, I'm not trying to like dog on him, pun intended. But yeah, it's like, yeah, did we really need a 5-minute conversation about whatever, right? But at least we had an absolute cinema moment with generic white man. And I'm going to leave them on the screen. Let's see how chat's doing, because it has been pretty active over here, and I always say, I'm not ignoring you guys, but when I'm in a flow, we gotta go. Welcome in Maz, welcome in Callus, welcome in Kenobi. Hope you're all doing fantastic today. Callus said earlier about Clutch. It's unique in its story. It's like Need for Speed The Run, where the story is pretty involved, which is, I mean, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I mean, that's more than a Forza then. So I like that. I've been playing this game. Well, I haven't been playing it recently, but I played this game called Screamer, which I think you heard of. That one is also very story heavy, but it's not open world. So we'll see how that goes. Kenobi also said, "Don't go against Skynet or else you will be blocked everywhere." I'm fine with that. I'm fine at this point. Just take me out. Fuck it. But what did you think of the Summer Games Fest? Was it super hype? This is where you say yes or no to yourself, either in the car or right now. All right, so that's Summer Games Fest. Let's move on. Next up is Day of the Devs, which is, I always say, if you're watching Summer Games Fest, just keep watching, because Day of the Devs is going to have some cool shit. This is all indie games. It's hosted by the guy who is behind one of my favorite studios, Double Fine, hosted by him. And I thought this year's showcase for Day of the Devs was good. I rarely have any problems with an indie showcase. Because at the end of the day, it's nice that Jeff Keighley puts this right after Summer Games Fest. It shows that he does care about indie games, and it also shows like, hey, yeah, this is worth watching, and I think it's always worth watching every year. I think the main problem though is like the main show is 2 hours, and then you just kind of throw us into Day of the Devs, and it's like I kind of need a break. I need to do something, like get out of this chair, right? So I can't just sit there and watch Day of the Devs, but I do tune in while I'm doing other things here and there, usually when it's going on. This year, though, we had a nice collection of games here. First up was a game called Blood Dungeon, and all this information is coming from Game Informer. This is coming from a developer named Messhoff. These are the same people who made Nihog, I think is how you spell it, or say it. Say it. So Blood Dungeon is a platformer. It is a cross between Vampire Survivors and Spelunky, and it's ultimately about gravity. And I thought the style of game is the graphic style is very weird, right? It's like this hand drawn, not really solid lines, just kind of sketched in kind of game looking thing. I'm guessing that's going to be more of a platformer, and then your character will automatically do things for you, like fire weapons and stuff like that, if it is Vampire Survivors like. Yeah, I thought it looked kind of cool, and we'll see more about that eventually. It is supposed to come out this year, 2026. Next up was relatively a cooler game called Tenebris Somna. This is coming from Cybot Studios, and this is releasing October 16th. This is a survival horror game that is pixelated, but it also has live action sequences that go along with the gameplay, which is very freaking cool. Definitely check out that trailer. Next up was a game called Mr. Records, coming from developer Neil Broadhead. Release date to be announced. This is from the same person who did Headbangers, Rhythm Royale, and Musical Story. Mr. Records is a new platformer rhythm game reminiscent of Bit Trip Runner and Harmonite. You play as a guy named Mr. Record who essentially moves and leaps through music, which, pretty cool. I like the art style. It kind of reminds me of the Plucky Squire a bit. Actually, it's very, very similar to Plucky Squire, actually, now that I look at it a little bit more. But the gameplay looked fun. Me, I'm a huge fan of vinyl, so that kind of itches that little part of my brain right there. But yeah, Mr. Records coming eventually. 33 Immortals. I talked about this game last year, I'm pretty sure. This is coming. This is going to be in 1.0 mode on June 10th. So that's actually today. That actually released today. I thought that 33 Immortals was pretty cool. It's like this. I don't want to describe it as like a battle royale, but essentially you're in this on this map with 33 other people, and you go to like these dungeons and you do them with other people, and of course people die as you go along and they stay dead, they can't be revived. So your goal is of course to level up your character and have as many people as you can survive for the boss fights, the big boss fights, right? So it's a very cool concept. I didn't stick with it for too long, but I thought it was very cool. I liked the idea. I thought that this is like a fresh gameplay type thing going on here. But yeah, if you want to check that out, the official 1.0 version is officially released right now, today, as I'm recording this or streaming it. A game called Dreadmoor, coming from a developer named Dream Doc. This is going to release in Q4 of 2026. This is an adventure game set in a creepy, dark, post-apocalyptic world where you fish and loot treasure from water to progress. It's kind of Dredge-esque, I would say. It does look pretty cool. That's all I gotta say about that. It does look pretty cool. I'll be looking for more information on that one. Dreadmoor. Threads of Time. This is a 2D, 3D pixel kind of game. This is coming from Rio Games. Release date not available right now. But this is a throwback RPG with impressive visuals inspired by Chrono Trigger. Oh, Rio Games teased that it's working on with the RPG development luminaries, and we'll share more details soon. Yeah, the art style looks really good on this one. I mean, the 2D, 3D pixel graphics always looks good. I don't think there's a single game out there that's in this style that doesn't look good. But this one, inspired by Chrono Trigger. Obviously, that's like one of those. That's a big name. That's a big name to talk about, right? You bring up Chrono Trigger, you get like 50 million people coming around. So, yeah, Threads of Time. There you go. Next up, N plus Infinity times 2. This is coming from Medinent Software. This is coming in 2027. They have been working on this game for apparently 20 years, which is pretty freaking crazy. It was originally released as a browser game in 2004, simply titled N, and each iteration has been billed as a new version of the original game rather than a numbered sequel, which is very interesting. It's a challenging yet simple platformer focused almost exclusively on game feel and mechanics. The oddly titled latest edition is more Smash Bros. Inspired multiplayer, but there will be single-player challenges as well. So, interesting. I think the lore behind that is pretty cool too. 20 years, started as a browser game. Pretty cool. Into the Unwell. This is a game that I've had my fingers on the pulse of since they showed it off at last year's Summer Games Fest, I'm pretty sure. This is coming from developer She Was Such a Good Horse, which I love that developer name. The release date to be announced. I believe it's slated to come out in 2026, but we'll see. This is a third-person roguelike game in the same style as a rubber hose animation, much like Mouse PI for Hire and stuff like that. It's a really cool-looking game. The only thing that worries me is like I don't know. There was a little bit of hubbub around this one when it was originally shown off that it was like kind of AI. I don't believe that was ever confirmed. I believe the Steam store page doesn't have anything listed for the AI section, so that's good in my book. But this is one that I think it looks cool. I like the character, the main character. I like the design of the game. I think it's going to be a pretty cool little roguelike game, and we'll see how it goes. It kind of reminded me of that Hellboy game that came out a few years ago called Web of Word, I think is what it was called. So I have a soft spot for that game. I know it wasn't critically well received, but I love that game. But anyway, Into the Unwell. That's coming eventually down the road. We have a couple more games here. So Bub. This is coming from Paper Frog, releasing in 2027. This is a narrative adventure game about making art in New York City with a style that looks like it's made of layered paper cutouts. Yeah, this one had a cool style to it. It's definitely more of like a Telltale style game where you walk around, you interact with objects, talk to people, stuff like that. It has a unique art style, which is, of course, a big plus in my book. Lazy River. This is coming from a lot of developers. They should just make a studio at this point. This is supposed to be coming in summer of 2027. Lazy River might be your next co-op slop game. It's a first-person shooter set in a water park in space where peeing in the pool creates zombies. You also have to build a raft to help you survive and escape the park. Really fun idea. really off the wall, a little bit weird, right? That's kind of how I like my games, a little bit weird, you know. But yeah, I mean, it looks kind of fun. Looks kind of interesting. If you want to check out that trailer, like I said, it could be the next big friend slop game that we get down the road. Not supposed to be coming out until next year though, so you gotta wait a little while for that one. Another game called Prove You're a Human, coming from Sunset Visitor. This is another one that's to be announced for the release date. This is coming from the same people who did 1000x Resist, which I know Callus was a huge fan of. Some new details about the game. Your mind is copied and placed in a digital world where you must prove to an AI that it is not human. Very interesting concept there. Kind of timely, I guess, as well. I mean, who knows where AI is going to be in a couple years. So definitely check this one out. The trailer was pretty cool. I think it's a very interesting concept. And if you liked their last game, I don't think this one's going to be exactly like 1000x Resist, but there probably is going to be some themes in there that can match up, of course. We had another game called Ithaca, coming from the Pixel Hunt. This is coming late 2027. This is coming from the same people who made a game called Inua. This is a story in ice and time. Let's see. These are other games that they've made. So Ithaca is a narrative RPG where you drive in a rideshare vehicle while unraveling a mystery. Yeah, this one's another cool concept. I like the idea here, using this idea of like Uber or whatever, and having like a mystery surrounding that. Also kind of reminded me of Left Right Game, if you know that creepypasta. But yeah, kind of cool there, futuristic Uber kind of vibe, right? Screenbound had another showing here, and they revealed a release date of September 10th. Add it to the list. This is one of those games, though, that, like, yes, it's coming in 2026. Yes, it's coming in September. This is definitely on my list of games to get day one. It's a very interesting idea where you have a Game Boy in front of you that's 2D, and then you also have the 3D environment that you're also platforming in, and you move both of the characters at the same time. So it's a very interesting and off-the-wall thing. If you have problems with, like, maybe vertigo or something like that, it might not be good for you. But this looks very, very cool. If you don't know what this one is, you should. It's a very interesting idea. It was shown off at one of those game showcases. I think it was the Game Awards. But yeah, this is one that has been on my list for quite some time, and nice to see that we finally got a release date for it. Next up is Shot One Fighters. This is coming from developer Red Moon Workshop, releasing very soon, in quotation marks. Shot One Fighters is a rogue game where you are playing a fighting game, an atypical genre within the rogue genre. As you progress through your runs, you will expand your moveset and abilities. Cool idea, cool concept, something that hasn't been done in the roguelite genre yet. Probably will check this one out when it comes out, because that's pretty cool. You know me, I like my off-the-wall genre mashups, and this is one that we haven't had yet, so I'll probably check this one out just to see what the hubbub is. Also, a game called Apple Crumble, coming from Happy Broccoli Games. This is coming in 2026. The same people who made Duck Detective. Apple Crumble is a mystery thriller inspired by books such as Murder on the Orient Express and movies such as Knives Out. Has a very interesting art style to it, kind of like a watercolor type style to it. But yeah, it might be a pretty interesting one for people who are fans of detective stories. Slap Out of It. This was one that really piqued my interest. This is coming from Turbo Button, coming out in 2027. This is a comedy sandbox game where you explore and meet weird puppet-like characters, and you interact with the world by slapping things and people. And it will have the voice of Ben Starr in it as well, which is always a plus. But this one looked funny. You know, another off-the-wall kind of game, right? But perfect for a showcase like this. Just something really weird, something out there that just kind of like shows up here. So, Slap Out of It. Funny. Super Ukulele Kart. This is coming from Platonic Games, of course, to be announced. If you don't know what this is, it's pretty much Ukulele's take on a Mario Kart game. It definitely has the vibes of like a Super Mario Kart, but it's still a 3D environment, so it's not going to be like Super Mario Kart, but there you go. A lot of people are like, wow, they're still stuck on Ukulele, huh? It's like, yeah, of course, because Ukulele is like actually a good series now. Impossible there, the remaster of Ukulele, and I'm sure this is going to be good too. Yeah, if you want to check this one out, I think it looks pretty cool. I like the idea here. I like the graphic style. And also, I do want to keep supporting Playtonic Games. Yeah, I've been supporting them since the start, and they haven't always delivered, but they have been delivering for quite some time now. So I'm willing to test the waters on a bit of a different game from them. And they've done a different game with each game that they put out. Like Ukulele is a 3D platformer, Impossible Lair is a 2D platformer, and now, boom, we have a kart racer. So we'll see how this one goes. A game called Into the Fire coming from Starward Industries. This is to be announced when it's going to come out. You're attempting to rescue survivors in a world being ravaged by flames. The team conducted extensive fire safety research and training to help them develop this game. This one has a very cool art style to it. Lots of fire, lots of red, brimstone, black and red in there. Very cool, like looking game. Very interesting concept as well, being like a person who's trying to save people in this disaster zone. Yeah. Pretty cool. Definitely will check this one out eventually. Trine 6, Together in Time. I can't believe we're getting another Trine game. This one's coming September 17th. Add it to the freaking list of games coming in September. Coming from Cool Dawn Games, published by THQ Nordic. If you don't know what Trine is at this point, it's a co-op game, platformer. They are what they are. They got great art style. They got good co-op mechanics. I just haven't played one since Trine 3. Yeah, that's a personal thing. And finally, we have a game called When Sirens Fall Flat. This is coming from LKA Studio, to be announced when the game will come out. This is set in the 90s in Italy. This is a psychological thriller where you are a policewoman trying to solve an intense case involving kidnappings and murders. Yeah, kind of a cool idea there as well. So yeah, like I said, Day of the Devs, always a good time. I don't really rate these ones because it's like, you know, it's a bunch of indie games. If I give it anything less than A or an S tier, like, then I'm doing a disservice to them, right? Yeah, I thought this showcase was good. Lots of variety in here, some off the wall things, some new concepts, new ideas, and that's why Day of the Devs is definitely worth watching. It's definitely worth your time. So, boom, bada bing, there you go. September's a big month. September and October, big months. How's it going today? C Fuzzy Man, hope you're doing well. All right, whew. Next up, I told you this was going to be a long one, folks. We're already almost an hour and a half in. Xbox. Xbox did a showcase, of course, as they do. This one was good. I thought this was a good showcase. I think I'll actually show this one on the TV behind me. Give me uno momento, por favor. Xbox Showcase 2026. Boom, bada, bing. We're going to throw this onto the TV. Boom, bada, bing. Bob's your uncle. All right, so the Xbox Showcase started off with Gears of War E-Day, which is funny because we got a whole presentation for Gears of War E-Day, like a 30-minute hubbub after the showcase. But what they showed off, this was like 7 minutes of gameplay and stuff like that. What they showed off genuinely looked good. The only thing about this trailer that I was like kind of iffy about was these hit markers. They have these white and red hit markers that come around, and I don't remember that being in other Gears of War games. It just feels very. I should say it doesn't feel Gears of War, right? It just feels unstylized, just like just a regular white and red hit marker, like nothing special there. But in terms of like graphics wise, gameplay wise, you know, everything combined, this Gears of War game is looking very good, comparable to Gears 5, which I also very much enjoyed. Now, I don't know if this game is going to be like open world-ish like Gears of 5 was, but you know, in terms of like, hey, we haven't had a Gears of War game in this style in quite some time since Gears 5. I'm very excited for this one. I love the retro Lancer. I think it's one of my favorite weapons in gaming. It's a bayonet on the end of a Lancer, right? But the animation for like running and killing something has always tickled a good part of my brain. The other thing that I find very weird about this one is the reload animation bar, where you can like press the reload button again to get a faster reload and pumped up bullets. Once again, bland, uninspired, just like weird. And I don't know if they'll make something a little bit different eventually down the road, but for me, it's just like there's some things about this trailer that were just like a little bit unpolished, and those are the two main things right there. But the rest of the trailer looked really good. Good sound design. Combat looked good. Very Gears of War-esque. Like, it definitely hit on a lot of the things that I was expecting here. And the character designs look fun and good. I don't know if we'll be getting new types of locusts in this one because it is a prequel. But yeah, I think it'll be good. This one is coming day one to Xbox Game Pass, right? But it is no longer going to be coming. Oh, I guess they never really fully announced it, but it is not going to be coming to PlayStation 5. It is not going to be coming to Steam. This is going to be an Xbox console exclusive, and I believe it will be on the app for PC. So there you go. Interested in this one, of course. This one is coming October 6th, 2026. Add it to the list. Of games coming early October. Next up, we had a kind of like a story trailer for Fable. It looks like they're showing off the main villain of the game. This character is seemingly like thinking that they are the hero of the game, and they're doing things that aren't very hero-like, but they think that they're in the right doing these hero things. Fable, as we know, was delayed until next year. It's coming February 23rd now to give it time to breathe. And I think that was a great idea because Gears of War coming out in October. And then, of course, like everyone is still expecting Grand Theft Auto to come out in November. I still think that it will be delayed again and totally fuck everything up. But, that's just me being a bit of a cynic. We'll see what happens. I think Fable is looking like the game is looking good. I think it's going to be much more like Fable than the past two Fable games that we've had in the past. So we'll see. We'll see about that. After that, they had some gameplay from the new missions from Halo campaign Evolved. I still think it's a very stupid name for the game. But I mean, look, graphically it looks great. We have Sergeant Johnson back, which is like boom, bada bing, fantastic there. The weird thing is that there's a third-person mode with this game, and it just looks weird. If you've seen the gameplay for it, they didn't show it at the showcase, but like the third-person gameplay for Master Chief was very strange. I was very weirded out by the third-person gameplay. Definitely be playing in first person. Now, this is one of those games that was supposed to be coming to PS5, and it still is. But the problem is that it is just a code on a disc, essentially. You put the game in, you download the rest of the data, which obviously is not my favorite thing ever from game studios, or from publishers, I should say. But the game is officially coming out on July 28th. I don't know if I'll be picking this one up day one. It is $70. There is a collector's edition that'll be available for $200 that comes with a physical manual. So if you want the manual for the game, you gotta pay $200, which is pretty insane in my opinion. Also, another thing that's really crazy about this game is there's no multiplayer attached to it. And if you know the original Halo Combat Evolved, you know that a huge part of that game was the multiplayer. I mean, I grew up on that multiplayer. I joined my first clan in Halo Combat Evolved. Like the multiplayer for Halo is legendary, like maybe even more legendary than the campaign itself. The fact that they don't have multiplayer included with this one is a bit weird, especially because Halo Infinite, it seems to be rounding down its content. So yeah, just kind of a weird thing there. Not sure what's up with that, but yeah, that's coming July 28th. If you're interested in that, I think I'm going to wait on this one. I don't know if it's going to be worth getting day one, but I'm sure it'll be worth getting it on like a sale. Next up, we had a trailer for Residents: A Plague Tale Legacy. This is coming August 27th across the board, PC, PS5, Xbox, and it is also coming day one to Xbox Game Pass as well. I honestly don't even remember this trailer. I'm going to be honest. I'm not the biggest Plague Tale fan out there. This is obviously a bit of a different game in the Plague Tale series. It actually kind of reminded me of Rise, Son of Rome. Yeah, I'm sure this will be fine. I just don't know if it's going to be what people who are a fan of a Plague Tale are looking for in a Plague Tale game. I guess I'm sure most people will enjoy it, but just something to think about. Just something to think about. August 27th for that one. After that, we got a reveal for Persona 4 Revival, which is like a remaster or whatever of Persona 4. Has enhanced visuals, improved gameplay, modern aesthetics, and quality of life updates. I believe this one is coming to all platforms. But Xbox is kind of cozying up with the Persona people, which is kind of crazy to think about. This is coming February 18th, 2027 to Xbox and PlayStation and Steam. So it is coming across the board there. Next, State of Decay 3 made an unexpected appearance at the showcase. Once again, this is another one of those trailers that I was like, what the heck am I watching? And then like, oh yeah, this is State of Decay, isn't it? I thought this game was canceled, I'll be honest. But this is coming in 2027. The first State of Decay, kind of an interesting concept, kind of like a roguelite before roguelites were really a big thing. Never played the second game. Maybe we'll play the third game. I don't know. This game is going to come to Xbox Game Pass day one, so you don't have to worry about that. Metro 2039. I was very hyped about this trailer. I thought this was a fantastic trailer. I'm a big fan of the Metro series. I've read the one of the books. I read the first book in the Metro book series. But I love Metro 2033. I love Metro Last Light. I really enjoyed Metro Exodus. Not my favorite game in the series, but I did enjoy that one. This one looks like it's going to be more of a linear experience, which I'm actually more excited about. I'm also more excited about being back in the actual Metro because Exodus takes you out of the Metro, and I'm like, well, why, it's not really a Metro then, right? Obviously, there are still things above ground, but visually it looks very impressive. Gameplay wise, looks like they innovated and did some new things here, which I really like. And we'll see if there's like a karma system in this one or whatever. But Metro 2039 coming soon, February 2027. So it's still a little ways off, but definitely very interested in that one. A game called Bad Magpie actually turned a lot of heads during the showcase. This is a game where you play as a bird, I think a crow actually, or a raven, who is just kind of causing havoc. Or a magpie. What the fuck am I saying? The game is called Bad Magpie. It's a magpie. It's a fucking bird, okay? But you're just causing chaos, right? And I think it looks very cute, very cuddly. I like the idea here. Kind of reminds me of Untitled Goose Game. This is apparently just a bit of a crazy linear open world kind of game coming in 2027. Very interested in that one. Definitely add that to your list if you like games like that. Wolong 2 Wings of Ember. It's been a while since Wolong Fallen Dynasty came out, and I really enjoyed that game. Wolong 2, though, bit of a surprise. Surprise. Oh my gosh. Bit of a surprise at the showcase here. I actually wasn't expecting that game to get a sequel, but I guess it did well enough that they were like, okay, we can do a sequel here. Team Ninja really is pumping out games left and right, though. I'm kind of worried about them. I'm hoping that the quality of the game will stay high because the last one I felt like was really fun, a really cool game. This is another game though that's set in like feudal times. And I just don't know if by the time this game comes out, if I'm going to be like really jazzed about playing this one. But this is coming 2027. I'll definitely check it out. It's also coming to PlayStation, Switch, and Steam as well. So cool. It's a day one Xbox Game Pass too, which is nice. The original game also was day one Game Pass as well. A game about joining a cult creating a cult called Join Us. This is coming soon as well. You're gonna recruit, build, teach. It's a bit of a management type game. A little bit of a crafting management type game. Also seems to be some gunplay as well in there. I don't know if they meant to do this, but the little animation here where they're like the characters of different varying colors of outfits very much reminds me of the latest 30 years later. Is that what it's called? The zombie movie that came out like last year. Very much reminiscent of the ending scene of that. Kind of a wacky thing. This is coming March 2027. I don't know. I'm probably not going to play this one. I don't like these kinds of games. But if you want to create a cult and you don't want to play that cult game that came out a long time ago, there you go. Next up, I'm probably going to have a pretty hot take about this one. I don't know if people are going to agree with me, but we have Senua. And this is a new third-person action game featuring, of course, Senua from Senua's Sacrifice and the sequel to that, Senua 2. My main issue is that this game is very action-packed looking, lots of combat in there. It might even be Souls-like, honestly. I liked Senua when the game was about the struggles of a character with PTSD and dealing with the psychosis that surrounds that and taking it in a serious way and in a realistic manner. Senua 2, I felt like did a decent job with that, but it definitely was not the focal point of that game. It was much more of like a technical showcase, as a lot of people call it. I don't like that they are going so hard into the action side of the game. Like, the combat in the first Senua, not good, but fine. Like, it's fine for what it is. It does the job. The thing you play Senua's Sacrifice for that deep story, for that amazing performance by the main actress there. You play it for the wacky visuals and the puzzles and the environment that you solve. You don't play it for the combat. This looks like a game that is completely detached from what Senua started out as, and it's a bit disappointing for me, right? Because you take this character who, I mean, look, I don't want to generalize things, but I do know someone who's in another Discord who very much related to Senua's story in the original game. And ever since that first game, they played the second one, hated it because it didn't do as good of a job. It barely did a good job, in their opinion, of presenting the mental side of what Senua was going through, right? And this one seems to be even more detached from that, which is why I'm probably not going to play this one. It is coming in 2027, but if they show more about this game off and it's just more combat, it's like we've turned the character from being an important character in that community of people struggling with PTSD into just an action star. You might as well put her in Fortnite at this point. You might as well do spin-off games. You might as well do collabs. Like, what's the point, right? So it is very disappointing to me to see a game that started out in one place but is turning into something totally different from this trailer's perspective. It does disappoint me a little bit because I think a lot of people really appreciated what they did with Senua's Sacrifice. I'm sorry, the original Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. I think a lot of people appreciated that game for its depiction of PTSD and mental illness. And this one just seems to be more of a glorified action adventure game, and possibly nothing more than that. I will wait to see more about it, but as of right now, I'm a bit apprehensive about it. And I'm not super crazy about the direction that they're taking this IP. And the thing is, too, like, the original game probably should have just been a standalone game, didn't need a sequel. The second game I felt like was a good game in general, like just from the outside looking in, not from the perspective of someone else. And like, of course, you're gonna want to do a sequel to a game that was pretty critically acclaimed. They won awards from whatever. But now I think it's time to not do something like this. And I think the main telltale thing here is you called the game Senua. Like, there's no deeper meaning here. It's just Senua. I don't know if they're gonna do more to the title, but as of right now, it just feels so off to me, right? To have a game like this featuring a character who once was a beacon for a group of people, and she's been turned into generic action star number 20. So just a little bit disappointing there, in my opinion. After that, Doom: The Dark Ages, it's getting a DLC called Revelations. It looks badass. This is coming July 7th. I don't know if I'll be playing this, but it does look very cool. New characters in there, new environments to traverse. Snowy hell. You gotta love that aesthetic. Crazy Taxi. Fuck this game. I was so hyped when they showed this game off. It's coming in 2027 if you're interested. Almost as soon as the showcase was over, People reported, the Steam page came up. There is generative AI used in development of this game, which is just so fucking disappointing. We go from Senua being disappointing for a whole different reason to this being disappointed for a reason that I feel like is just so ridiculous. You're using generative AI to create concepts for you and then mold them into whatever. I've said this so many times. Use your own fucking brain. Use your own fucking imagination. You don't need AI to fucking generate things for you. It just doesn't make any fucking sense. Are you not a human being? Do you not have your own ideas? Like, Crazy Taxi is an established IP. You have tons of reference material that you can just take from. You don't need to generate AI fucking shit for this. Because it's already there's already things to come to take inspiration from, and you can, because it's the same IP. It just doesn't make any sense that we need to use generative AI for the concept phase. It just doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Why do you need that? I get the the statement they put out. Like, I get, like, oh well, we're going over it with a human touch. I don't give a shit. From the get-go should be the human touch. Are you not hiring the right people with the imagination to bring these games to life? That's my like what the fuck are we doing here? We're saving what, a couple fucking $100 to just like generate some shit with AI? Like, it's so stupid. And once again, at this point, like, maybe a couple years ago I would have been like, yeah, whatever, But at this point, with how much has gone on in the space of AI, I just can't support anything that has AI in it anymore. It's so blatantly lazy. It's just, it never, like, when you see AI usage in games, it always sticks out like a sore thumb. Like, it's just one of the things that it just pisses me off nowadays, because it's like, you don't need to do this. Sega, you are a multi-million-dollar company. Pay some people to do concept art. Pay some people to think of ideas for your game. You know that this game is going to be very exciting for a lot of people, because the original Crazy Taxi and its follow-up sequel are very highly praised games. You know that this game is going to sell just from that nostalgia factor alone. They had The Offspring for the trailer, the music from The Offspring. That is like a win on any fucking given day. But as soon as the hype is at its highest, you crash it down to earth because you use generative fucking AI to start the process of this game. And I just cannot fucking support that. Go fuck yourself. Xbox Series X 25th Anniversary Edition is very cool. What a turnaround. This is a green clear cover Xbox and controller that'll be available soon to order. They actually had an event where they gave a bunch of people free tickets to the event, and then they gave them all a free Xbox Series X 25th Anniversary Edition. This Anniversary Edition, very cool. I would very much be interested in buying this if it was not like 600 fucking bucks. Also, I'm not, I have an Xbox Series S. I don't need an X. Like, I'm fine with what I have. But if I was in the market for this, I would be very excited to grab this, because it's a very cool looking console. You can see all the components on the inside, which is very 90s inspired, right? The controller itself looks very cool. Just a cool thing there. This is supposed to come out in November 2026, and they are taking measures to stop scalpers from stealing all of the consoles. And I think they started by giving all those consoles away to kind of put the consoles into the ether. So we'll see what they do to try and stop scalpers from the sales of the console. But yeah, pretty cool. Like I said, I would be totally down to buy this if, one, it wasn't so much money, and two, I didn't already have an Xbox console for this current generation. But hey, whatever. You do you if you want to check this out. I personally would love to get this if I had unlimited money. Boom, I would be first in line for this. I would. Minecraft Dungeons 2 is coming out September 29th. Put it on the fucking list, but add it to the pile. I believe this is coming day one to Xbox Game Pass. I did not play the original Minecraft Dungeons. This one does look a little bit different. I believe it has a bit of a different perspective to it. They actually didn't show gameplay, Well, fuck me, I guess. I believe it's more third person, if I'm not mistaken, while the original one is top down, but I don't know. And I don't care. I don't care. Sorry to the Minecraft Dungeon fans. I just don't care. I can't find a shit for this one. Valor Mortis. Holy shit, folks. This is the game that I was very excited about, but it's coming out September 24th. September 24th. This is a very cool game. It's first-person melee Souls-like with a gun, and these character designs in this game are so cool. It's in the Napoleonic era. Like, oh my gosh, like it's such a cool idea, such a cool place, time period to explore, But holy shit, you gotta put it out September 24th. Come on. I can't. I have too much to play at this point. But it's definitely on my list. Should be a pretty cool game. Starring Vincent Cassel as Napoleon. Let's frickin' go. Where the Winds Meet, don't care. Castlevania Belmont's Curse. This is coming out October 15th. Added to the pile of early October games. Well, I guess it's mid-October, but still. This Castlevania game is looking very good. Very cool art style to it. Looks like it's very much in the same vein as the original games. So if you are a person who likes the original experiences, being a Castlevania, Metroidvania, boom bada bing, there you go. Obviously, it has some newer concepts to it. Of course, it has a much more fleshed out combat system, but also at the same time, it's by the same people who did Dead Cells or helped with Dead Cells, I believe. And obviously that's gonna be top tier gameplay no matter what day you're looking at this. So yeah, very cool. Castlevania Belmont's Curse coming out October 15th. Check that out if you want to. Also, Persona 6 had a logo reveal. That's pretty much it. I'm surprised that they announced this at the Xbox showcase, but like I said, for some reason, Xbox and Persona have been very tight-knit recently. So yeah, boom, bada bing. Persona 6 has a logo reveal, and that was pretty much it. It's green. Do you like green? I like green. Next up, probably the most hype thing during the whole thing, Spyro: A Realm Beyond. This is a brand new Spyro game coming from Toys for Bob, finally off of the Call of Duty DMZ hellhole. They get to make their own original Spyro game. Very excited about this. I'm feeling like it's probably going to be open world, soaring, right? It's probably going to have a lot of flying to it. But I'm very excited for that. Very, very excited indeed. I believe they got the original voice actor for Spyro back, or whoever did the voice for the last Spyro trilogy. But this is coming spring 2027. I believe. Hold on, let me double check here. I believe it's coming to Steam. This one. Hold on. It's coming. Okay, so it's coming across the board to all different platforms, which I think is a good idea because Spyro. I mean, it originally was a PlayStation IP, but I feel like a lot of people will enjoy Spyro, much like Crash Bandicoot, right? So I feel like putting it out on multiple platforms is a good idea. It is going to be available day one on Xbox Game Pass, FYI. And then Clockwork Revolution had a new trailer. This is coming 2027. This is going to be an official console exclusive, so it's going to only be available on Xbox consoles and I believe the Xbox app on PC. I think the game is looking good. Unfortunately, this trailer was kind of cringe. The conversation and dialogue was a bit cringe, but the style of the game and the steampunk elements are very cool. Looks like there's also going to be a time travel element as well that we saw. Very BioShock-like, But the dialogue just kind of like. I don't know. I was kind of iffy on the dialogue, not gonna lie. But the game in general is looking good. So there's that. And then finally, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 had its first look at the DMZ mode. It was a 5-minute scripted segment where these two dudes were playing DMZ in the new DMZ map. And with these scripted gameplay segments, they're always so cringe. They're funny though. It's funny, right? It's supposed to be like this intense moment where the guy's getting shot. He's like, "Oh no, I'm being shot! Flank left!" And it's like, dude, no one is like this when they're playing DMZ. Maybe you got the one oddball guy out there, but most people are just like, "I'm being hit from the right. I'm moving left." It's funny. It's funny to see trailers like this because it really does remind me of E3, But DMZ What do I have to say about this? It looks fine. It's DMZ but in Korea. Like I don't know. I'll probably play it just to see how it is. But I don't care. Like I just don't care. Like the trailer was fine. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't care. It's DMZ and Call of Duty. Like I'm more interested in seeing what the story is going to be like and what the gameplay for the multiplayer is going to look like. Which I've already been a little bit impressed by the new movement system from the trailer we got last episode. I talked about it. So, boom. But DMZ could not care less. Could not care less. And that was the Xbox Games Showcase, and I thought this was pretty good. This was probably the best showcase of the weekend, bar minus like the state of play from last week. I felt like it was a pretty good showing. I liked a lot of the reveals here. I liked a lot of the games they showed off. There wasn't really any fluff in there. And, there was a little bit of something for everyone, which is nice as well. And also, like, the new commitment to the Xbox brand, I think is a very strong thing. The new CEO, Sasha, is doing... I'm sorry, not Sasha. What's her name? Fuck, I should know this by now. Asha. Definitely taking the company in a good direction, and we'll see how it goes. Also, this was actually recently announced today. Major Nelson is coming back for the host an Xbox led show, like a showing at a convention or whatever, which is pretty cool because Major Nelson was let go kind of randomly, if I remember correctly. So kind of cool to see him come back and do his thing. All right. So yeah, if I was gonna put this on a tier list, this was like a low A tier, maybe high B tier. Pretty good. The only thing that I would say, you don't need to start with Gears of War E-Day because you're doing a whole presentation for it afterwards, or at least we don't need like an entire 5-minute segment on it. But I still thought it was good anyway, so whatever. All right. Next up here, we have the Nintendo Direct, which I guess I'll put that on the TV too. Nintendo Direct. Roll the footage. Oh shit! I have to find where it actually starts, don't I? That should be good. All right, yeah, whatever. Nintendo Direct, here we go. So the showcase started off with Rhythm Heaven Groove, which I thought was a pretty interesting one to start with. This is coming July 2nd, so it makes sense because it's coming out next month. But also, I don't know, it doesn't really, it's not like a showstopper, right? I get the idea. They're showing off the game that's both Switch 1 and Switch 2, right? They want to make sure to put this one out there, say, hey, it's coming to both platforms. The rest of the games in the lineup are just coming to Switch 2. I don't think that's a bad idea per se, but also it's a bit of a lackluster starter for me personally. I know there's a lot of people who are very excited about Rhythm Heaven. I'm not trying to diminish your thoughts, but at the same time, do we really need like a 5-minute segment of explaining that you need to hit the buttons on the rhythm? I don't know. The cool thing though that it did show off was the fact that there is a single player mode, like a dungeon crawler mode where you have to hit buttons in the right order to do attacks. I thought that was kind of cool. There's also a new multiplayer mode associated with it. So there is cool stuff there. I just feel like we could have done less with the explaining the idea of the game, because it's we get it. You see a couple seconds of gameplay, you kind of understand what you got to do. So there you go. Rhythm Heaven Groove. This is. I don't think I'll be picking this one up, at least not right away. I know what I said last year. I was like, hey, I'm going to try and buy every single Switch 2 game that comes out. The problem is that a lot of the Switch 2 games that are coming out now, I'm not really interested in, and also they're like $70, $80, which we'll get to that very soon. But yeah, it's just a lot of money to spend on games that I'm not interested in, like Pokopia and Tomodachi Life. These are games that I probably would have bought, but I'm just not interested in spending the money for those right now, especially for a game key card for Pokopia. Okay, I should save this for later. But anyway, that was the start there. Rhythm Heaven Groove. We got a reveal that, yes, Onimusha Way of the Sword is coming to Nintendo Switch Day 1, which is cool. Capcom really showed up at the start here because they also announced that Dragon's Dogma 2 and DMC 5 and DMC 5, those are all coming to Switch 2 as well, which is pretty cool as there. Those are just, ports. But the big thing is like Onimusha coming to Switch 2. That's a big thing. Also, Stellar Blade is coming to Switch 2 as well. This is going to come out in 2026 at some point. Cool, whatever. Orbital's got a release date. This is coming September 3rd. If you don't know what this is, it's the anime co-op game, kind of in the same style as It Takes Two or something like that. It looks very good. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. So there you go. Rayman Legends Retold, coming to Switch 2 on October 1st. Nothing new there. One Piece Grand Gourmet. This is a new cooking game in the One Piece universe. This is coming October 23rd. Add it to the list. Add it to the pile. It's coming to Switch, Switch 2, Steam, app, and Google Play and the Apple App Store. So there you go. I liked One Piece back in the day. I didn't stick with it after I was like in middle school. But it's a goofy little concept. You play as one of the characters. They now own like a restaurant, and the characters from the show come in and order stuff. I think it's kind of like Overcooked or Played Up or something like that. But there you go. Kind of little fun little show there. Pokemon Pokopia is getting DLC. There's also going to be a new update for free to everyone where you can actually swim now and go underwater, which is pretty nice. But the DLC will add new places. Part 1 is going to be called Bubbly Basin. That'll be released in August. You can buy the expansion pass right now. Ooh, boy. Run real quick. Get that expansion pack, folks. Holy shit. Buy the expansion pass for however much money right now. It's such a goofy thing that they were like, oh, the expansion pass available now. It's like, okay, but the DLC is not available for another 2 months. You want me to spend, I don't know, $40 on a DLC package that's not going to come out for another couple months? Come on, guys. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. This is, I don't remember if they announced that this game was coming. I think there was like one of those like title screen things. So I think we knew about it, but I forgot about it. This is coming September 17th. So this is a Nintendo September game. The physical version of this is $80. You can go to Amazon or Walmart and get it for $10 off, but that is insane. This game does not look like it needs the $80 treatment.
Nintendo just released a...
I think that, look, I think the game looks fine. I'm not a huge fan of Fire Emblem. Never been a big fan of Fire Emblem. The last one I played was Three Houses on the 3DS. I thought it was fine, right? I like turn-based combat games like this, kind of in that Advanced War style, but I just don't know. I don't really like the Fire Emblem games per se. And this one, it is back to that style of turn-based combat and stuff like that. So it's different from Fire Emblem Engage. But at the same time, I'm not interested in paying $70, $80 for this game for a series that I'm not super into, right? So this trailer really didn't do anything for me. Like, it looks good, like it's definitely utilizing the hardware at least, but it's just not for me, which is gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Deltarune Chapter 5. Now this was kind of annoying. So for this reveal, which in hindsight, funny what they did, but also kind of annoying. They had the Pikmin like little leaf coming out of the ground, and instead of it being a Pikmin, it was the dog from Undertale. And I was like so excited for about 2 seconds, and then it wasn't Pikmin. So that started off on the wrong foot, but it is a cool reveal that yes, we're getting Chapter 5 on the Switch 2. This is coming January 24th. So people who are fans of Deltarune, you're getting the next one very soon. It's launching on Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch as a free update if you bought the base game, which is cool too. I believe it's also coming to Steam as well too. Next up, Donkey Kong Bonanza is getting new DLC that is inspired, not new DLC, but it's like an asset swap for the DLC. Asset swap for the DLC. What the heck is going on? It's inspired by Mario, so you're getting they're changing like the question blocks and Mario power-ups and stuff like that are being put into the game. This is a limited time thing, so it's not going to last for a long time, but it's for the 40th anniversary of Mario, which is, the most that they can do for the guy, huh? They released a movie and they put an asset swap in the Donkey Kong Bonanza. Let's wipe our hands and say, yep, that's good. I forgot. The Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 version is also huge for the 40th anniversary of Mario. Am I right? Hoy boy. They also announced, it's not written here, but there's this new app or a new thing on the Nintendo app where you can actually earn achievements by doing specific things in Donkey Kong Bonanza. This is also a limited time thing from now until September, which is weird. Can we just say that right now? What a weird thing to be time kept, right? It just doesn't make any sense that you're only going to be allowed to get these like cards or whatever, these achievements between a couple months here. And it's like, I would totally do this if I wanted to, but I just don't want to. I don't know, like, the main thing is like, what's the point of making it time sensitive, right? It just doesn't make sense. So that was a bit weird. I feel like these challenges should just be available 24/7. Like, you don't have to worry about doing them now or later. But I don't know. It's a Nintendo thing. They just don't. Sometimes they just do really goofy things. Next up, Callus is gonna love this one. Jujutsu Kaisen Rumble Survivation. Yeah, that's right. I said it completely right. This is coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. This is made by the same people who did Vampire Survivors. It is essentially a Vampire Survivors clone, which is funny to say because it's coming from the same people, but it's from this anime. I have not watched this anime, but if you're a fan of this anime, it might be kind of a cool little thing to do, to play. But that is coming in 2026. Keep an eye out for that if you want to. Looks like it has a bit of a multiplayer element to it, which could be kind of cool. You can after you get through the entire thing, the top two people like fight with their upgrades. So a little bit of an interesting concept there, I suppose. A little bit different from Vampire Survivors. Holy shit, folks! Did you know that Lords of the Fallen 2 is coming in fall? Did you know that Lords of the Fallen 2 is a video game that is coming out soon? I didn't. You know what's annoying is the Switch 2 logo was in the Summer Games Fest reveal, so we didn't need this at all. You could say the same thing about the Onimusha game, but at least that was like cool. Lords of the Fallen 2 though? I mean, is it an impressive port? Sure. But at this point, I'm not excited by ports. Like, it was exciting when the Switch 2 originally launched a year ago, but now it's like, it's just normal now. There's nothing exciting about that. Same thing with Lies of P. The Complete Edition is coming to Switch 2 on August 6th. Once again, cool port. Glad we're getting it. But also, this feels like a partner direct with all these ports that are coming out. Here's Devil May Cry 5. I guess I talked about it in the wrong order. Big Walk. This is a cool looking game. This is coming August 4th. I'm actually pretty interested in this one. It's a very unique concept. But it's something that we've already seen plenty of, and I don't think the gameplay they showed off was all that unique from what we've seen before, honestly, which is a little bit disappointing. But also at the same time, like, yeah, I mean, it's a fun little thing. I don't mind that they're showing it off. So there you go. Big Walk coming August 4th. Then we had the Xenoblade part of the show. All of the Xenoblade games are getting Switch 2 versions. So Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3. They will all be available on... they will be available starting on July 30th. I believe the first game is going to be available. And then the third game will be available December 3rd. So they're releasing them periodically, which is weird, to say the least. The first game, they're giving it like a new transportation system, so it's going to be easier to traverse the map. The second game and the third game also have new things being added to it for the Switch 2 version, but it's not... I don't believe they're like increasing the price to like $70. I think they're going to be like $50 to $60. Yeah, I mean, that's cool. You're getting ports there. They also announced the next game in the series, Xenoblade Genesis. Technically Xenoblade 4, if you want to be like that. This is coming 2027, so this is coming next year. Not too bad of a reveal for people who are Xenoblade fans. You're getting a new Xenoblade game. Doesn't do anything for me because I have never played a Xenoblade game in my life. But there you go. Also, probably one of the most lackluster reveals in the entire showcase was Nintendo Switch Sports Resort. Yes, the other Nintendo Switch Sports game sold well because it's using the Wii U nostalgia. The Wii Sports nostalgia. I don't know why I said Wii U. The Wii Sports nostalgia. This game is essentially an asset flip from Nintendo Switch Sports. It has every single sport included from the original Nintendo Switch Sports game, plus a few extras, which is like a big whatever, right? You got bowling, you got tennis, you got volleyball, you got badminton, you got basketball and golf, right? But now you have the jump rope and thumb wrestling. Ooh, boy, thumb wrestling. Fuck me, dude. The section for thumb wrestling took forever, dude. I was so fucking pissed. I'm like, why? Why do we need a 5-minute thumb wrestling section? This is so stupid. I understand the concept of thumb wrestling. Please move on. But no, he's sitting there, he's doing the thumb wrestling, and they have the fucking voiceover, and I'm like, holy shit, what are we doing here? At this point, it was like 30 minutes of just nothing for me, right? And I was getting very frustrated, as you can tell. But holy fuck, dude. Thumb wrestling does not need its own 5-minute excursion during this showcase. This is their October release, by the way. This is coming out October 22nd. Holy fuck. What the fuck are we doing? Nintendo Switch Sports did not need a sequel. It did not need a sequel at all. This game is literally an asset flip to the T, and I am not going to support this because holy shit, a couple of extra games thrown in there like jet skiing and thumb wrestling and table tennis and archery is not going to get my blood pumping, okay? Also, we had all this shit in Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, which is a vastly superior game to whatever the fuck this is going to be. So, for the love of God, can we please just not do this right now? Like, holy shit. If you're looking for a really interesting final part to the year for Nintendo, look somewhere else. Because right now, it's Star Fox, it's Splatoon, it's nothing else. Oh my God. Speaking of Star Fox, there's a demo available right now if you want to try that out. The full game comes June 25th, if you want to check that out. Here's actually a pretty cool reveal. Final Fantasy is getting its first 3D, 2D, HD 2D game called Final Fantasy Resonance. I think it's cool that they're finally doing a game in this style. A little bit late to the party, but this is actually coming October 22nd, coming to pretty much all platforms. So if you're a fan of the old school style of Final Fantasy games, this might scratch that itch for you. Pretty cool, though. I think it's actually a pretty cool reveal, all things considered. Then we got a very short look at the Duskbloods, still supposedly coming in 2026. There's a closed network test coming soon. Fuck me, man. Show something about the game. For the love of God, please. Just show something about the game. I don't need these really slow-mo action shots of a character having a sword in their hand. I'm happy with the concept. I'm happy with the graphic style. Show me something new. Please, just show me something new. For the love of God. This game is supposed to come out this year. How many months are left in this year? 6? Is it going to come out in fucking November? Is it going to come out in September? I don't know at this point. But just show me something. Show me something tangible that I can latch onto so I can actually get excited about this game. A new Dragon Quest game called Dragon Quest Monsters: The Withered World. This is pretty much a Pokemon-like where you play as 2 female protagonists who can capture monsters and use them in battle. And this coming December 3rd. Fun times. Splatoon Raiders is coming July 23rd. There is going to be a specific direct for Splatoon Raiders on June 30th. The game looks fine. This is one of those games, though, that I feel like is not really utilizing the Switch 2 hardware. It definitely still looks like a Switch 1 game, which is a little bit disappointing. Maybe there'll be some sort of patch later on. I don't know. The main thing here, once again, is like, yeah, the physical version of this game, $10 more than the digital version, which is really annoying, especially because I don't know if this game is going to be worth that price tag, which is why I'm a little bit apprehensive about picking this one up. It does interest me. I do like Splatoon as a series, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know, like, the trailer didn't really sell me on it. Like, it looks fine. Like, I'm sure Splatoon fans are going to be very excited, but for me personally, it was just kind of like, okay. Speaking of okay things, Minecraft is officially on the Nintendo Switch 2. Let's freaking go. Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 is coming to Switch 2. Let's fucking go. Kingdom Hearts 1 through 3 collection is getting a Switch 2 edition on October 8th. It's also releasing on other platforms as well, I'm pretty sure. This is another controversial one because the key art for the game, which I believe is the Japanese cover for the game, for whatever reason, they decided to use AI to move the characters around, and there was like Donald Duck had 5 fingers on one hand and 4 fingers on the other hand, which was a real like big red flag there. Very strange because you have the original artwork from the person who did the original artwork for Kingdom Hearts. Why don't you just have him like redraw it or like move the characters himself? I'm sure he has it as a template in like Photoshop or whatever. Like, I'm sure he could do something like that for you. It just is really weird to use AI for something like this. It's just so fucking weird. The collection itself, I believe it's one giant download, so you have to like get like 150 gigabytes of space on your Switch 2 if you want to play this. And for context, the original game collection is like 50 gigabytes, so I don't know what the fuck they did there. But this is coming October 8th. It's nice that we're getting these games on Switch 2, but also at the same time, probably not the best place to play them. I mean, we had a collection that was on sale. It's like $20. It's like, why don't you just get that version? Like, I get it. The original Switch versions were cloud versions, which are being discontinued. They are actually already taken down from the store. So it's like, okay, it's nice that you're getting new versions of the games that aren't just cloud versions. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Just get the collection for PS4. Like, it's a better deal, honestly. And then they had a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, which is the first time we've seen it in quite some time. It was a bit of a surprise, I will say. It looks fine. Like, the thing about it is, I don't know if it, like, I don't know. It, like, the gameplay looks fine, but it just looks like, it honestly looks like a Switch 1 game. Like, the graphics just don't look that good, in my opinion. And obviously this could just be a early concept thing, alpha version, whatever. But at the same time, it didn't really sing to me. I think like the idea of using like this gold trail to like grind on it and then hit the enemies is kind of cool, sure. But it's another one of those trailers where it's like, okay, I mean, I get what you're going for here, and there is new stuff here. It's not just the same trailer from last time. But at the same time, like, it is looking a little bit rough, in my opinion. I'm sure that not everyone's going to agree with that, but I mean, just like the stills, like, I mean, it doesn't look very good when I pause it, but the stills from this just don't look that great. Or I should say the environments for this just don't look that great. But like I said, could just be alpha version of the game, pre-alpha version of the game. So I'll give them a little bit of leeway, and we'll wait to hear more about this. But it does seem like it's pretty far away from release if they won't even give even like a little bit of a timeline here, like of when it's going to come out. It is launching on all platforms, so it's not just a Switch 2 exclusive. But it is pretty crazy that they showed off this new trailer at the Nintendo Direct. So that's a little bit crazy. And then finally, we got a logo reveal for Zelda, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time remake. They also showed Link sleeping. Cool. I don't know. Like, I get being excited about a remake of this game, sure, but were Legend of Zelda fans really that excited about this reveal? I mean, this was leaked a long time ago too, so it's not like it was like that crazy. I'm sure people were excited about it, but I just like this reveal just is a little bit lackluster to me. Like I feel like if it's coming out in December, which it's a 2026 release, they say it's probably going to come out in December, right? Because the rest of the slate is full of games. There's a release at least every month for Nintendo. Would you not want to show off a little bit of the game, like just a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of something? Like all they did was show off this practically still images of Link sleeping and then the logo, right? And I just feel like, how can you really get that excited about the game if all we're seeing is Link sleeping? Like, I feel like come on, you show one of those classic scenes of like Link riding the horse as a kid, or something, right? Something, right? And I'm probably a lone person on this hill. I'm not a huge Legend of Zelda fan. I don't think I'm a Legend of Zelda fan at all. But it really boggles my mind that like you're supposedly releasing this game in 2026. The slate for games is pretty clear at this point for December, and I think November as well. If you're going to release it in a couple months, should we not get a bigger reveal here? That's all I'm saying. So, at the end of the day, I wasn't like crazy about this Nintendo Direct. I mean, this was definitely one of the Nintendo Directs of all time. I was a little bit harsh when I originally said it sucked. I think it was just fine, right? There's a lot of reveals here that are like, okay, whatever. There's a lot of port reveals, which I feel like could have been reserved for a partner direct or something like that. I don't think there's anything too crazy here in terms of ports. Probably the biggest thing was the Xenoblade stuff coming around because that's a first time to have all the games coming to Switch 2. I think that's fine. And plus a new reveal, a new Xenoblade reveal, like that's big, obviously, for the people who are fans of Xenoblade. But a lot of this other stuff was like, like even like the new Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC, like it's just an asset flip, and the achievements are nothing special there. The DLC for Pokemon, it's not available right now. You're buying an expansion pack for something that's coming out in August. So I'm not like, am I really gonna be that crazy, that thrilled about that? A lot of the other things too, like a port of Rayman, a port of Stellar Blade, a port of Dragon's Dogma, Onimusha coming to the series, like the system. Like this is not stuff that's gonna get me hyped. Like I said before, if this was revealed during the first ever Switch 2 Direct, that's exciting because a lot of people haven't gotten these first party games on a Switch system in quite some time, because it took a lot more work to get these big AAA, AA games onto the system. But nowadays, it's been out for more than a year at this point. It's not that exciting, and Nintendo should know that by now. This, I'll say it. This was not the Nintendo Direct we needed. I was already a bit worried about this year for Nintendo Switch because we haven't really had any big marquee games, right? Pokopia became a big game, but when that was building up hype, I mean, it was really kind of like, okay, Pokemon, Animal Crossing, right? Tomodachi Life, it's kind of come and gone, right? I feel like not as many people are talking about that. Fuck, I don't even remember what came out in January this year. Mario Tennis? Like, who the fuck cares about Mario Tennis at this point? I didn't even finish that game. I was like, fuck this, it's boring, it's tennis. Yeah, I mean, this year for Nintendo has just kind of been just so disappointing. I mean, this is we were still in the first year of Nintendo Switch, right? Nintendo Switch 2. Where we needed a Direct that actually had some tangible stuff in there to get excited about. But like, I'm sorry, but nothing in this Direct got me out of my seat cheering. Like there was none of that. Like, I'm happy for the Splatoon fans. I'm happy for the Xenoblade fans. I'm happy for the Zelda fans who are coping really hard about this trailer, okay? But personally, this Direct really just did not have anything of real substance in there. And the things they did show off that were new weren't exciting. Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, I could care less. Fucking 5 minutes of thumb wrestling is not going to get my jimmies in a rustle. Showing Rhythm Heaven Groove at the beginning of the showcase and just going in excruciating detail how the game works, not needed. The stuff they talked about after that, cool. X out that entire first part and you have a good opener right there, right? But for the love of God, we don't need an entire deep dive into how to press a button in time with the game. Like that could have been like a throwaway line. I mean, yeah, the Splatoon Raiders, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm just like not crazy like about this. Dust Bloods, it would have been really awesome to actually see some gameplay, some like a little bit of longer gameplay there, but they didn't show anything there. We know that Star Fox is coming out, and it's cool that there's a demo, but this is nothing new. If they really wanted to like show off Star Fox and me be excited about it, don't put out the Star Fox video 2 weeks ago, right? Just put it here. I mean, I know that that's a bit of a short time span for getting the game out there, but I mean, come on. Like, you revealed a couple of things this past few months that are like, we could have just been in this direct. And yeah, a lot of this other stuff is like ports, things that I'm not going to be super interested in. But like I said, I'm happy for the people who are getting things that, that are exciting to them. But for me personally, this is just a bit of a waste of time for me. I mean, a lot of this stuff we knew about. It's nice to get some release date reveals and some port reveals, but there just was not enough here to make me excited about the end of the year for Nintendo. Pretty much everything coming out from Nintendo from Star Fox onward is not something that I'm really interested in buying. And it makes me really sad because my goal when the Switch 2 came out originally was to get every single first-party Nintendo Switch game. But pretty much from the Legend of Zelda game that came out last year, what's it even called? Hyrule Warriors. From that game onward, it's been a real slog. Metroid was awful. Mario Tennis lackluster. Like, I'm not super excited about anything else that's coming out this year except for Star Fox, and that's just because I love Star Fox. Shoot me, hang me from the gallows. I love Star Fox. I'll support Star Fox, right? But everything else is just kind of like, okay, this is a year and a half of Switch 2. And it's not exciting. It's not exciting. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really have big expectations for this, but what I was hoping for was something to like make me excited about the rest of the year for the Switch. And for a lot of people, that was the Ocarina of Time remake. But at the end of the day, it's like, are you really gonna get that hyped over Link sleeping on a bed and then a logo? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe I'm just jaded in my old age, but fuck, that's not going to get me excited. Like, if they had a Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave type reveal for Ocarina of Time remake, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, you have all the right in the world to be super hyped. But they showed nothing for the Ocarina of Time remake. Once again, maybe it's just me. I'm not a huge fan of Legend of Zelda, so like I'm not the right audience for this. But also at the same time, it just, outside perspective, how do you get hyped about that? How do you genuinely get hyped about that? I don't know. Anyway, easy D tier for me. Like, I respect most of the announcements, but there was a lot in here that made me frustrated, and I mean, it's not the worst Nintendo Direct ever, but it's definitely lower on the totem pole, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But yeah, I scroll through these games and it's like, yeah, it's cool. You're getting Space Marine and you're getting fucking whatever. But at the same time, it's like 2-year-old game, 50-year-old game. Yeah, we got 50-year-old games. We got 10-year-old game, 3-year-old game. Game that's been shown off. Like, God, it's a little bit disappointing. It is a bit disappointing. But I think it's not disappointing because of the games. I think it's that is a part of it. It's not disappointing because of the third-party games. That's what I'll say. The third-party games, they showed their stuff. It's cool that they're coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. The first-party stuff is what's really disappointing to me personally. Like, other than Star Fox, I'll keep excluding Star Fox from this conversation. I can't get hyped about really anything right now from Nintendo. And that is just unfortunate. Okay. Nintendo Switch Direct. We're done. Boom. All right. Woo! It's time to talk about Among Us. Let's freaking go. All right, the Among Us TV show. Oh boy. No one asked for it, but I binged that shit. Yes, I did. The nice thing is each episode is like 15 minutes long plus credits. With credits, so it's like more like 12 minutes long. So it was a real quick watch. There's like 10 episodes, which is kind of crazy because it's not like the production design on the show is like super like anime-esque, right? It's really a basically anime show. Like, because of the character designs, they don't even need to animate mouths on the characters at all. Like, there's no mouth animations needed except for maybe on the monster. It's like a couple times. So it's like, okay, you've removed a big part of the animation process where it's like we don't need to animate mouths moving. We can just have the characters on screen, practically static on screen with like facial animations, quote unquote, happening, right? So it's like, I don't know why this took so long to come out. I also don't know why it took them so long to do something else with the IP of Among Us. Like, at this point, I feel like they've kind of missed that jumping point where it's like, yeah, I wish, I don't wish, but I think if you would put this TV show out 2 years after the game got huge during COVID, you would have been golden. This would have been like huge. People would have been talking about this and watching it and blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, though, we are 7 years removed from that. And like, yeah, the game is still popular and there's still people playing it. But at the same time, like, who cares about the TV show coming out? It has Elijah Wood in it, which is great. Love that. But also at the same time, it's like, what else is this game? What else does this show really offer to the audience? And you might be surprised to hear me say this, but honestly, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like, I was genuinely like watching it and going, yeah, it's got some good jokes here and there. It's got some funny little gags here and there. Like, I'm actually not hating myself for watching this. I think the worst part of the show was the opening of the first episode where you meet Orange and she says, "I'm happy to have you amongst us." Or is it Among Us? And then they flash the fucking name of the show, name of the game on there. That was hyper cringe. And I was so worried at that point that was going to be the entirety of the show. Luckily, though, a lot of the show is just kind of like a basic plot for an Among Us show. Like, it's kind of a basic plot. But there's actually some substance here that I thought was genuinely funny and had some genuine, like, I don't know how to say it, like genuinely like a bit like out there kind of a style to it. And these moments were kind of short-lived, but they did leave a bit of an impact, so much so that I remember them. Like, there was one episode where randomly in the episode they replaced the Brown character, Brown, with a guy in a brown Among Us costume from like Spirit Halloween. And it went on for a little bit too long. I felt like it should have been like a real quick sight gag kind of thing. But it actually genuinely got a laugh out of me because I was not expecting that at all. It's the only character that was changed into a Among Us costume. And I was like, okay, you got me there. That was pretty funny. There was also another moment where the animation style all of a sudden like went really anime, and like it had like the really dark outlines for the characters, and there was like all the like the like stuff, the like emotion stuff on the faces. That was also like a short-lived little thing, but it was like also really funny, like just randomly like this hyper animated like segment. There was another segment where it was like really they were like tripping balls or whatever because there wasn't enough oxygen on the ship, and it was like all this like really psychedelic kaleidoscope kind of stuff going on. I thought that was actually pretty cool. And like I said, there was also a couple of there was at least one moment in each episode where I either chuckled or had a genuine laugh. And for an Among Us TV show, that's pretty high praise. I mean, say what you want, but having a laugh or chuckle at least once during each episode, maybe minus one or two, genuinely, that's a win in my book. Because to be honest, I was expecting myself to hate this entirely. I was expecting to just shit on it the entire time. But honestly, it wasn't that bad of a watch. The worst thing about it is you have to have Paramount Plus, which, like, fuck Paramount Plus. The app barely works on my TV most of the time. So, like, maybe eventually they'll upload the entirety of the show to YouTube, which would be great. I think that's a better idea than putting it on a paid platform like Paramount Plus. So, like, that's like, if you're not a super fan of Among Us, there's no reason to get a subscription to Paramount Plus to watch this. I'm sure eventually it will be on a free platform like YouTube or whatever to watch eventually down the road. Especially because I don't think this is gonna do gangbuster numbers. Like, I think it's gonna just be like a general, like, okay, that was fine kind of show. And I don't think that a lot of people are going to go head over heels to try and watch the show, right? They're not going to, I don't think Paramount Plus subscriptions are going to go up by $5 billion because of the Among Us show, right? Maybe 5 years ago that would have happened, but now probably not. I don't think so. But like I said, it wasn't a waste of time, which is surprising for me personally. It was a real quick, like, 2-hour watch, which honestly, that's the length of a movie. Not even that bad of a watch time for this one. And for the fact that it actually had moments in it where it actually kept me slightly engaged and, like, actually being like, okay, that was cool. That's a win in my book. That really is a win. The problem, though, does start when they take this idea of Among Us and, like, who's the imposter, and they just don't do anything interesting with that idea, with that concept, right? It is very much a basic, like, whodunit type thing that doesn't really involve the process of Among Us. It's very much like, we use the emergency button as a reference, and the monster is, going through the vents as a reference, and, whatever. I feel like more could have been done to make it feel more like an Among Us situation where people are, voting and talking and going over where they were and stuff like that. Because with the way the show is conceptualized, you can't be with every character throughout the entire episode, right? So there's characters who are doing their own thing. You don't know where they are exactly, right? And I feel like that's part of the problem, where it's like, okay, you can't, like, in this case, you can't see every character. So, the reveal that, like, Orange went to this place and, now there's a dead body there. It's like, well, duh, it's Orange. Because it's a fucking TV show and there's no real nuance to it, right? It's so blatantly obvious that it's Orange, right? And also at the end of the show, they tried to do a similar thing where they're like, oh, who's the real killer? Who's the real villain? But at the end of the day, from the start of the show, you kind of know who's going to be the monster. And that's just from knowing who the actors are. And it's great that they didn't just kill off a certain actor from the get-go. I'm not saying who. Because I thought that was what was going to happen. But because this certain actor lasted all the way to the final episode, I was like, well, of course, it's this character. Right? So there really wasn't any intrigue or anything like that. I was very much like, okay, I know, they lived this long, and there's, of course, 2 imposters because that's how it is in the game. Of course, this certain character is the imposter. It's also very funny that they have a goth baddie in the show. Like, they genuinely try to make the character kind of sexy, which is kind of weird because it's a character in a black suit with a choker on, essentially, and eyeliner. I don't know. It was like, okay, kind of a bizarre thing there. We're trying to do like a goth mommy kind of thirst trap here. All right, cool. But there was also like these moments between that character and another one that were like very like cookie cutter regular TV show drama type shit. And it's like, okay, I'm just not interested in like the character dynamics here, because it's like, yeah, I mean, this isn't like Among Us. This is just like, I don't know, insert this is fucking Big Bang Theory, like fucking basic drama, right? So like there's a half of this show that's like cool, like interesting, funny, a little bit off the wall. But then there's the other half of the show that's like very basic plot. You can tell who's the killer from the get-go. You can discern who the final killer is going to be just from knowing who acts in the show. Like, it's one of those things where it's like a little bit of a missed potential here. You kind of had something going there. You kind of had some fun moments. You had some cool stuff, but God, you dropped the ball by not making it so off the wall and so closely related to the source material. And just having to be a bit more silly and a bit more like off the wall, because they tried to go a super horror angle towards the end, and it's like it's a little bit effective in the second to last episode when you're still kind of, the monster is still kind of like in the background killing things, but also at the same time they cut away from the kill one too many times. Like, you don't see the black the black suit character. It sounds a little bit wrong when I say just the black character. You don't see the goth character get killed. You don't see the cyan character actually get killed. You don't see the guy in the brown suit get killed. Like, these are kills that that don't get shown on screen. They get shown, the aftermath gets shown, but they don't show the kill. And it's like, I don't understand. You don't have to reveal who the killer is. Just have the fucking tentacles kill them or rip them apart. Like this could be what's that show called? What the internet show? Happy Tree Friends. It could be something like that, where it's like we just have like this incredibly gorish scene out of nowhere from this like cutesy animated show. Like, just do something like that. I think it would have been so much better in that sense. But they don't do that. They cut away from most of the kills, which is a bit disappointing, because it's like, it's an animated show. It's not specifically made for, like, you still have the gore in the show. Like, you have blood, you have pus, you have a bone sticking out of every character, you have guts and shit. Like, it's still very gory and it's still very bloody. So what's the point of not showing the kill? Like, a kid is not just going to be like, oh, look at that meat over there. It's like, yeah, that's a dead fucking body. Like, I don't know. Like, just show the kill. I mean, that's one thing that this show was very, very much missing, was like showing the characters being ripped apart, because that's the fun part, right? You're gonna have me watch a show and learn so much about a certain character and then not show their death on screen. Come on. So at the end of the day, it is not exactly worth watching, but if it does become free on YouTube, then I would say, yeah, just binge it, because there are some moments that are genuinely good. There are some moments that are genuinely funny. It just drops the ball a bit, which is why, at the end of the day, I'm giving the Among Us TV show a shocking 3 out of 5. Not terrible, but not amazing, right? There's some stuff in there I enjoyed, but a lot of the stuff I was like, But I think it's a big win that I was able to watch it from start to finish and not want to jump out my window at the end of the day. I think that's a big win. That's just me. All right, let's move on to another review. Okie dokie. We are going to talk about the Onimusha Way of the Sword demo, and this is something that I was very interested in playing because the combat shown off in the trailers looked very fluid, looked very cool, and the game plays exceptionally well. The combat in the game feels so tight and so good. I love the parrying. I love the counterattacks. I like the killing animations. It's all so well done. And playing this demo made me go, damn, maybe I should buy this game day one, because God, it was actually a very good demo. The main issue with the demo is that it is very easy. The final boss in the game only took me 2 tries, and that's because the first try I fucked up and didn't heal in time. That was my bad. But it was a very easy demo. Now, they did come out and say, like, yeah, the rest of the game does get progressively more difficult, which I'm sure I wasn't concerned about that, but it was a little bit concerning, and I didn't know if I was just going like, super gamer god mode at that time, but it was a little bit concerning with how easy I was getting through the areas that they kind of had in the demo. It is very short, but it is sweet. And if you have the means, I would definitely recommend trying it out, whether it be on PC or console. It is actually a very good showcase of what to expect from the game. And I thought, like, yeah, the combat is a real standout here. The graphics are obviously a real standout here. Like, this is a game that I think will be very, very good on release day. It's just too bad that it's coming out in such a packed fucking month. September is like 50 fucking games at this point. Early October, 60 more games coming out. Like, this is a game that's coming out just at the wrong time. If they delayed this game to fucking December or January, that would be great. But they're not going to do that at this point. Or like November, like put it out in November. I know Grand Theft Auto is coming out in November, supposedly. I'm still on the delay train. Take that risk. Release at the beginning of November. Take that risk. There is nothing coming out of note in November other than like indie games, which those are of note, of course, but like nothing like super crazy coming out in November, right? Except for apparently Grand Theft Auto 6. And I just feel like there needs to be a game or something that goes, yeah, I'm gonna also release in November, and I think that game will still do fine, especially if it's something like Onimusha or Control or whatever, right? I so very much would love to play Onimusha Day 1 and play through it and give it the time of day that it deserves. But that's the problem, is I don't have the time to give it. And I really, really wish that I did, because this demo was exceptional. They put so much love and care into animations and into lighting and into the environments and into the monster designs. And the boss was, the boss at the end of the game was very cool. Like, he had a very unique fighting style, and the animations were so crisp and clean on the character. And fuck me, like, you're just releasing this game that's probably could be Game of the Year any other year. You're just releasing it at the wrong fucking time, dude. And it just breaks my heart, because it really, you can see the passion behind it. You can see the love and care put into every single detail. And holy shit, the combat is so fucking good. But oh man, I just can't see myself playing it in time with Wolverine and Control coming out at the same time, plus any other game that is around that area that I'm also interested in getting. That's a smaller experience. So it pains me to do so, but I'm probably still going to wait on this one. But oh man, if you, like I said, if you have the means, play this demo. I think you'll be sold on the game. If you're a fan of the series, or if you're a fan of Souls-like games, I think you'll be sold on the game pretty quickly. And this one it's not so much a hardcore Souls-like game. It definitely is more like a Resident Evil, where you have checkpoints and stuff like that, because Onimusha is also, a Resident Evil type game, right? It's using the RE engine, for God's sake. So like, it definitely has a lot of those Resident Evil isms in it. But at the same time, it does still have like a bit of a Souls-like combat style to it and stuff like that. But as this demo is not going to blast your balls off with difficulty. But I can see it turning into something that does become more difficult and utilizes these different play styles and stuff like that very effectively. So yes, if you have not played the Onimusha demo, I would highly, highly, highly recommend you do that. It does get 2 thumbs up from me. Bah, bah, bah. I think it's a demo that is going to show you everything you need to know and give you just enough to keep you wanting more. And it's just so fucking annoying that so many games are releasing right in that clump. Yeah, right in that clump. Maybe if I finish Wolverine fast enough, maybe I'll consider getting Onimusha like a month later or a couple weeks later after it's released. Maybe. We'll see. Look. I just want to reiterate. I am very much on the boat that Grand Theft Auto 6 is being pushed back. I probably will be proven wrong, because I usually am about these things, but I just have such a sneaking suspicion that this game that has not gotten another trailer in months, that has not gotten a confirmed release date. Well, I guess it does have a confirmed release date, but it just is one of these things where it's like it hasn't got a new trailer in a while. We haven't heard any news about pre-orders, pricing, special editions, the online mode. We have no clue what the fuck this game really is. And it's supposed to come out in July, August, September, October, 5 months? 6 months technically, because we're still kind of at the beginning of June. Yeah, I don't know. Like, they got to do a pretty big showcase soon, or something soon, right? And if we don't see something in the next 3 months, I would say I think I'm on the money. That's being delayed. But we will see. We shall see. All right. Next up, we have a first impression. All right, so I have been playing Kingdom Hearts 1.5. I've been playing it offline. I did play a stream online on Twitch and YouTube for Kingdom Hearts. I was going through like the Alice in Wonderland section, and I had a lot of fun with that. But you know, in general, I think the game is actually very good. I went into it kind of being like, okay, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this, but I want to give it a chance because you know I like all these characters, and I think that the idea of like Final Fantasy mashing with Disney could be an interesting concept, and it does work for the most part. It does have a little bit of a slow start, which is why I didn't want to stream it at first, because it's like, well, you know, you start on this island and you're kind of just learning the game and learning what the fuck is, you know, what the game is, and I think that part of the game, it does go by pretty quickly, all things considered, but it is a little bit like, okay, you know, I think I'm kind of done with this about halfway through that island section. But once you do get to like the Toontown of it all, and then you get to the first area, which is Alice in Wonderland, it really does hit a stride that it doesn't let up for until you get to the Little Mermaid section, which is the part that I'm currently going through right now. I just beat Ursula for the first time, which was a little bit annoying, but like the entire underwater area is a little bit annoying. They turn you into a mermaid, and like the enemies are a bit more annoying because it's all underwater and there's like it's a third dimension. I like the idea. I think like it's a swing. It is certainly a swing. It's a bit of a miss though. I very much got lost for a while playing through that section. I had to look up like where to go next, and I hate doing that, but you know I just had to do it because I was just swimming around, and like yeah, I was getting a lot of XP from fighting the enemies over and over and over again. But at the same time, it's like I kind of want to continue and get to the next part of this, right? So it's like that section it was a little bit like it just wasn't very clear on where you had to go next, and it was a big open, you know, underwater area with a lot of enemies. At least with like the Aladdin area or the Alice in Wonderland area, like, you know, you kind of know where you can go, and there's not like a super secret place that you got to get to. I mean, it's not like there's a super secret place in the Little Mermaid section either, but it's just finding the right area to go to and swim to. It's just it's a bit of a slog. But I am very much enjoying the game, which I know is a little bit like, ooh, you know, I'm actually a little bit surprised because I'm not super into this genre per se. Like, yes, I've played Final Fantasy games and I've played other JRPGs, but this one it just kind of clicks a little bit more than the other ones that I played. And yeah, this one I like the idea of it. I mean, so far the story's like fine. Like, I don't know if the story's like that crazy, but like, you know, it does tug on those nostalgia strings. You got Winnie the Pooh in there, and it's like, fuck yes. You got Jim Cummings voicing Winnie the Pooh, which is like, yep, big dub there. You have the original voice actors for Goofy and Donald, and like, dude, if Goofy and Donald was in every single Final Fantasy game, I would probably play every single one to completion. Like, that is just like how much fun it is to have Goofy and Donald just interacting with these like totally super serious characters. Like, you know, they're going through like these like lines of dialogue, and like you just have Goofy sitting in the back there just like panting. And then he's like, Sora, we gotta go. And it's like, thank you, Goofy, thank you. And then you have Donald Duck over there, you know, doing his fucking thing. You know, it's like, yes, I would very much love to have Donald and Goofy as my partners in every single Final Fantasy game. And maybe there's a mod for that. I don't know. But it's very fun having the two characters with you. And then you also get other characters as well, like Tarzan joins your battle, and Aladdin and Little Mermaid joins you for those sections. And I think it's fun that you get those things. It would be nice if you could take Tarzan to the next area or Aladdin to the next area. But I understand, like, yeah, for the context of the concept of what's going on, it would break the story a little bit. So, like, I get it. But, you know, essentially the main thing is, like, yeah, you know, Maleficent teams up with this like darkness, and they try to steal the princesses to open up some sort of door. So it's like, yeah, there's all that going on. So far, like, they're like, look, a lot of the things that I look for in games like this is like, is the combat annoying? No. Is the story annoying? No. Is the voice acting annoying? No. Is the world design annoying? Just a little bit, in one area, right? But not really. Is the level up system fluid? Yes. Is there a good way to heal? Yes. Is there character growth? Yes. Are there two funny characters who I love? Yes. Is there interesting characters to meet in the world? Yes. Like there's a lot of things that are checkmarked here for this game, which is great because a lot of games like this, especially in the Final Fantasy, they take themselves so seriously most of the time. Like in Final Fantasy VII Remake, like some of the best moments of that game were when it was like off the wall, like Cloud dressing up as a girl, or fighting a giant fucking house. Like these are off the wall things, and like even though I was annoyed while going through those sections, looking back in hindsight, it's like, yeah, that's kind of peak, to fight a fucking house, right? Like I understand where people come from, why they love that so much, right? But there's a lot of other stuff surrounding that bog the game down for me, and it causes me to have frustrations. With Kingdom Hearts, it's a very quick paced game. You're not bogged down in these sections. Like I think the most annoyed that I've been so far is just in this underwater area, because there was a point where I just didn't know where to go, and I was just swimming around and I was just fighting enemies over and over and over again. And that did get a little bit annoying, but once I found where I needed to go, I got to the Ursula fight, I beat it, and I was like, okay, time to save. I'll go back to this later. And it's also like really nice that I'm not just streaming it, because this is one of those games where it's one of those moments where it's like, if I'm enjoying a game, I got to stay on it, because if I deviate from that, I might not come back to it. It happened with Pragmata, sadly enough. I have not gotten back to Pragmata because other things came out that I played, and I just was like, forget that. I mean, I not forget that, but I just kind of like put it on the shelf. And sometimes games stay on the shelf for quite a while. So one of the things about the new streaming schedule is like, yeah, with it being like once or twice a week, like I don't have the limitations of like, okay, I have to play this on stream, or yeah, I have to do this, or I have to do that. Like I can play the games at my own pace, and I can stream them when I want to stream them, or if I want to stream something new, I can just stream something new if I'm interested in that. Like it's very much better for not just like, I think, my mental health in general, but also like my video game playability at this point, because there was a lot of games last year that I bought that I just kind of dropped because it's just how I kind of have been with a lot of these games. But being able to play them at my own pace, and if I'm enjoying something, really dive into it, that's what I really want to do. And I know there's a lot of games that I've bought this year that I've dropped as well, but those are games that I was excited for, like Mouse PI for Hire, and they just aren't clicking with me. I played a lot of it, but I'm just like, I'm kind of over that. Same thing with like Forza. I know I did my final review essentially last episode, but I'm at that point where it's like, and this happens with all Forza games, so it's not just the Forza Horizon 6, but it's like I'm at that point where it's like, okay, I have a hurdle to get over to get to the final part of the game, and I just don't want to do that, right? I played the game so lax. It's like, why do I need to do this one event in under 4 minutes? Like, why do you give me that randomly this far into the game after I've done everything else? And I get it. It's because, if you want to get to the final area and you want to get the cool island area, you gotta do this challenge. But it's like, at the same time, it's like, yeah, but I don't want to do that, because the game is more of like a laid back experience for me. So I mean, it's unfortunate, but I'm probably not going to finish Forza Horizon 6, which is just added onto the pile of Forza games I haven't finished. And it's also very unfortunate because I enjoy that game so much. I really enjoy that game so much, but I just want to play it as a casual, and all of a sudden I can't play it as a casual because I have to do something in under a time limit. And it's not like an easy time limit. It's like one of these events where it's like you're going up and down and drifting left and right and going through these tight turns and stuff like that. So it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a skill gap. I just can't get my time better than 4 minutes and 10 seconds. And I'm kind of just stuck there, and I got a little bit frustrated. And I said, if I'm getting frustrated, it's time to put the game down, maybe come back to it later, which is what I've done so far. But looping back around here, I think Kingdom Hearts 1.5, I don't know why there's so many different versions of this game, but Kingdom Hearts 1.5 has been fun. I've been enjoying my time a lot with it. I'm about 11 hours in, And yeah, I'm having a good time with it. The only sections that I kind of don't really enjoy are the ones where you're in the gummy ship and you're just like flying straight ahead. I feel like those. I mean, you hit the warp drive eventually, which is nice, but you still have to do the sections every so often. It's just like, you know, I don't know. It's just kind of like very basic, like original Star Fox-esque kind of gameplay. And it's like, okay, I mean, it's fine the first couple times, but it becomes very annoying later on. But yeah, other than that, though, enjoying the game, and maybe I'll report in next week if I make a lot of progress or not. I don't know. We'll see. Anywho, let's switch back to some news. All right, we don't have much news. Actually, we have like one main news article here, and that is that Project Mara has been canceled. This was a completely original thing coming from Ninja Theory, who is working on Senua now at this point. And a lot of people guessed that this Project Mara was just a Senua spinoff at the end of the day anyway. But it was using their technology of face rigging and stuff like that to make a bit of a psychological horror game. I'm pretty sure it was going to be. This was revealed all the way back in 2020, and I remember having Vivid Chim on the show to talk about it, and it was actually one of my most viewed clips from Ferret 64 history, with like 1,000 views on this clip where we talked about Project Mara. And it's crazy that 6 years later we heard nothing about it, and it's just been canceled. So in a statement, they said Project Mara. Oh wait, hold on. They said from Ninja Theory, with the fact that we have an entire team working on this game, I suspect that some people might ask what happened to Project Mara. I took the decision to not work on that any further. These decisions are never easy, but I did so to take the opportunity to have all the talent and expertise in the studio, all 85 creatives working together to realize the potential of what Senua can be. This lumps back into my conversation about Senua back during the Xbox Showcase, what I was talking about, where it's like, we really don't need Senua to be a Marvel-esque character, right? She was a fantastic look into the mind of someone suffering from a mental illness, suffering from PTSD. You have taken this character from that base, and you have turned them into the Marvel action-packed hero who you might as well put her in Fortnite, right? I will reiterate that. And it's so sad to see that they, once again, you have this Project Mara, which was supposed to be a horror title, which could also have had themes of that, you know, a look into the mind of someone maybe struggling with psychosis. And instead of working on that, you have decided to essentially monopolize your character that a lot of people originally had a lot of ties to for various reasons. And it's very sad to see them just completely axe a project simply because it's not Senua focused. And I don't know if this is Xbox at the helm or if it's just them as a studio being like, well, you know, Senua's selling, so we gotta keep on Senua. I don't know, but it is a little bit disappointing that they decided not to go through with this game, and maybe they'll revive it in the future. But at this point, probably not going to happen. And we'll see what happens in the future, though. I mean, obviously nothing's set in stone, but you know, it was a little bit disappointing that, like, okay, we had Project Mara in the works, and they actually, I mean, they revealed this, I believe, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice came out in like 2018 or something like that, right? Or 2017. So they revealed this at a good time where it's like, okay, I mean, this is the next step for the studio, and it wasn't like just another Senua thing. And I was like, that's a good idea, because, you know, the Hellblade being a one-off game is a good idea. Like, I think that's fine, completely fine, and would be normal. But instead, nowadays, it's like everything's got to be this giant thing. Everything's got to have multiple sequels to it. Everything's got to be like forever, right? And it just doesn't make sense, especially in the case of this particular character and this particular studio, for them to do that. And don't forget that Xbox originally, after they did Senua and bought the studio, Xbox originally threw them onto Bleeding Edge, which was a hero shooter. Don't forget about that. I certainly don't. But anyway, that is that from Ninja Theory. All right, we have one last thing to talk about today, coming soon. All right. We have the reveal of the PlayStation Plus games coming to extra and premium tiers for June. These games will be available Soon. Throughout the month here, from between June 10th and June 30th, these games will be available. So, in the extras tier, you have Final Fantasy 16, Sonic and Shadow Generations, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Farming Simulator 25, Blades of Fire, and Black Desert. There's a lot of games here that I would say, like, yeah, try them out. Final Fantasy 16, Sonic and Shadows Generation, Kingdom Come, Blades of Fire, actually kind of an interesting third-person hack-and-slash type game. But I never played it, but I did watch a review of it. It did look interesting, just a little bit like, not my thing. Definitely stay away from Life is Strange Double Exposure. That game was very disappointing. And then I don't know what Black Desert is. I feel like this is... let me look at the cover. Okay, I think this is like an MMO. No, it says single player. No, but this says Black Desert Online, so it is an MMO. I don't know. Anyway, though, good month for extra. And then the premium game coming out is Guitaro Man, which is kind of like the Parappa the Rappa, but guitar. So I think I might pick this up because it is a very interesting and off-the-wall kind of game. And you know me, I kind of like my off-the-wall kind of games, So this will be available to purchase or download on June 16th, if you want to check that out. Okay, well, that is that, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and move on to the question of the podcast. We don't have too many questions right now, but this one ties in with the topics for today. Callus asks, Asha Shaman has been so vocal about changes to Xbox since she took over a few months ago. Do you think things are heading the right way for them now? What do you think needs to happen for them to at least be on par with PlayStation? So this is a very good question, Callus. A very good question. I think that genuinely, once Xbox gets the train rolling with this new exclusive venture that they're doing, I think they're already kind of right there with PlayStation, because right now PlayStation is doing a lot of things that I don't agree with, and Xbox is doing things that I do agree with. So it's kind of crazy to think that like they've kind of flip-flopped in my mind a little bit. I think that PlayStation is going in the wrong direction and Xbox is going in the right direction. The things that Xbox is talking about, making online free again, bringing back exclusives, bringing back the power to the name of Xbox, like these are good things. And everything they showed off at the latest Xbox showcase, as we talked about, were all things that like looks good. I mean, they're heading in that right direction. They're already kind of in that direction, right? They need to stay the course, though. If they fuck up, it's going to be tumbling back into the pit of despair, right? I actually am a little bit confident in saying that Xbox very might well win the next generation of console wars. And I know console wars is a dated term. That's the only way I can describe it. If we're going PlayStation up against Xbox, I almost feel like if PlayStation keeps going the way that they're going, raising prices, not being a good enough value, not putting out enough games in a year, and the games they're putting out being all like these really crappy online shooters, I think Xbox could easily take that second spot below Nintendo. Well, I guess PlayStation still is kind of at the top there, isn't it? But I do think that Xbox could potentially, if they keep on the right track, could be the next console that I get, right? Over like a PS6 type scenario. Now, that's obviously very far-fetched for me to say because there are a lot of IPs from PlayStation that I am ride or die for. One of them obviously being, God of War. So it's one of those things where it's like I would probably end up getting both consoles eventually anyway, but it might be more enticing to get an Xbox console if they continue with the trajectory of good exclusive titles and good games coming to the service. If they continue having Ultimate be a good price tag, they did reduce the price for Ultimate again, which is good. It's back to like $20 a month, which is fine. And if they do promise to keep physical games alive on their console, and they do also promise to make online access for multiplayer games free, if they do actually do that, I think they very much will win the next console war. And that's all I'm saying. Right now, PlayStation not saying the best things, not doing the best things. I know, giant corporation, what are you going to do? But at the same time, you get the right person in that lead position, like Asha has been, and boom, they go on that right path, and like things just change overnight almost, it seems. And I liked Phil Spencer. I thought Phil was a genuine nice guy, but the way that they were taking the company wasn't good for their business. And I talked about this multiple times in the past where it was like, yeah, you're, raising prices on everything. Under his leadership, they were putting Xbox on everything. There was no Xbox was not an exclusive anymore. Like there's no Xbox exclusives anymore. They bought all these studios. They shut a lot of them down. And like maybe that would have happened no matter what. But at the end of the day, it was done under Phil Spencer. And it was always after he was praising the developers that they had, and he was praising the people. It was just such a weird juxtaposition to go from one day, I love our developers, to the next day, and 1,000 of you are laid off. Pretty crazy. So like, bad mojo there. Just like the this is the an Xbox campaign was just shit. Like from top to bottom. And I don't know if that was Phil Spencer's doing, but like just absolute shit. Like I said, not all these things are probably Phil Spencer's fault, but when you are the face and the CEO of a company, you get these things get put on you. It's just like being the president of the United States. No matter what the fuck happened before or after, you're the guy right now. You're going to be blamed for things, for better or worse. So at the end of the day, yes, I do think they're heading in the right direction. And I do think that they will be. I think they're already kind of on par with PlayStation right now in a lot of ways. I think that Game Pass Ultimate and actually even the lower tier is a better deal than PlayStation Essentials and premium tiers. I think that in terms of like exclusives that are coming out the rest of this year, I know Wolverine is going to be huge, but Xbox has Gears of War E-Day coming out. They have a bunch of all these other games that are coming out under their banner, and it's just a better output of games. Like PlayStation, they put out like a banger every 6 months, right? It's not enough, right? And that puts way more pressure on these studios to produce the best fucking game ever in existence and sell billions of copies. It's not going to happen. At least Xbox is smart enough to be like, let's put out some smaller things like Kiln and like X, Y, and Z between the big marquee releases like Gears of War and Fable. It's such a better idea, and I've talked about this many times. Like, just make a smaller Sly Cooper game, make a spin-off Uncharted game, make a fucking you can make a multiplayer shooter, but don't make that your main release for the year. Like Concord probably would have been a fine game if they just put less money into it and they released it for like free to play with a season pass. I think it would have been perfectly fine slotted in between like Marvel Spider-Man 2 and fucking whatever came before, like Helldivers 2 or whatever. Right? I think it would have been perfectly fine, right? But no, instead it was like, this is the big marquee game for the rest of our year, and of course it's going to fail. Of course. He's selling a hero shooter for $40 in a market that has tons of free-to-play shooters. Like, what the fuck, So I think that what Xbox is doing is a way better plan right now, and they're actually taking my advice that I gave the PlayStation so long ago now. Just release some smaller games from your studios. Just like give them a smaller project, make the money back easily or more easily, and fund the next thing or get prepared for the next thing. Just because you put out a game like Kiln does not mean that no one's going to buy Gears of War. People are most likely going to either play or buy both because it's quality stuff. One's a multiplayer game, one's a third-person shooter. I think that those are two very distinct genres, two very different games, and at the same time, they released far enough apart from each other so I can go, oh yeah, I want to buy Kiln, I want to support Double Fine, I want to buy this game. At the same time, like, yeah, I want to play Gears of War because I'm a Gears of War fan. That's my big marquee Xbox game that I want to play. You have these two games. One of them's an original IP. One of them is a legacy IP. With it just works. It just works out because one's a smaller project that can be easily get the money back. The other is a AAA project that is going to sell and you've been working on for a while, but you're not pumping in billions of dollars. It's probably, I mean, the development cost of Gears of War is probably pretty high, honestly. But now I think Xbox has realized, like, yeah, I mean, part of our sales is going to be impacted by Xbox Game Pass. We kind of see that from the past couple of games that released, right? So I think that they've I think they're shifting their tactics in a way that helps them get over that hurdle of like losing some money from being on Xbox Game Pass. But as for Sony, they're literally just relying on this game's got to do well. Wolverine, it can't fail, right? But what happens if, let's say, the previews for Wolverine come out and it's a 7 out of 10? It's worst case scenario because they've put probably about $500 million into Wolverine, maybe more for Insomniac Games. And it's technically not a flop if it's a 7 out of 10. It's technically not a flop if it sells 1 million copies. But at the end of the day, when you put $500 million into something, you're wanting that $500 million back. Like Marathon. Marathon's a perfect example. We talked about that a couple episodes now. Put in all that money into Marathon, put in all that money into buying Bungie, billions of dollars, just for them to not even get close to making that money back because you've just invested too much into it. You've overfunded, in my opinion. Is it great to give people jobs? Yes. Is it great to let a developer do what they want to do and do their passion without the fingers of a higher up? Yes. But you also need to be realistic about something. And in my opinion, PlayStation has just not been realistic. They think that every game they put out is just going to be a banger. We have such a core audience that they'll just buy anything we shit out. But what has been proven in the past couple of years is like, no, actually, not everyone's going to buy everything you shit out. So there you go. That's the main difference between Xbox and PlayStation. I feel like they are kind of getting to that point where they are on par. And honestly, PlayStation is dipping a little bit lower. And this is me coming as a person who is a huge fan of PlayStation. I have been with PlayStation for so fucking long at this point. I switched over from Nintendo to Xbox back when the Xbox 360 came out. And then once I bought a PS3 with my money from McDonald's, I've been a PlayStation fan ever since. The games clicked with me a bit more. They were a bit deeper than what Xbox was doing at the time. And even though I still enjoyed offerings from Xbox in the 360 and even into the Xbox One era, Xbox shot themselves in the foot with that launch of the Xbox One. And they weren't really recovering until now, which is crazy to say. Crazy to fucking say. Okay, but thank you for the question, Callus. If you want to ask a question for the podcast, or if you want to suggest a topic like Greedy Waffles did, I will get to this once we have another God of War La Fe topic to talk about on the podcast. Join the Discord and join in. You can also join the podcast if you want to. We haven't had anyone do that yet, other than Jeopardy. But it is an option that's available if you're a part of the Discord. Also, you can follow me in there, life updates and shit like that. It's all in the Discord. All right, y'all. I appreciate you so much. This was the long haul, and usually it is with games like this. Not games, but episodes like this where we have multiple showcases. This really was pretty much E3 season. But we've come out, and we've survived. What more can you ask for, huh? But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who came by the stream today, came by the live podcast today. Very much appreciate that. Like I say, it's nothing personal if I don't respond to something you say. It's just I gotta keep my flow going. This is a live show, not a live stream. So if you want your thoughts to be put onto the podcast 100% for sure. Yeah, join the Discord, join the waiting room. Let me know that you're there. And I do keep an eye on chat. It's not like I'm ignoring you, but I got to keep rolling. That's all it is. But thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you so much. These episodes get edited and then put out onto multiple platforms, usually the weekend the weekend after. This Friday, though, is a new episode of Film Freaks, so it might be a little bit longer before this episode gets put out on audio platforms, but it is available the same day on YouTube and Twitch if you want to go back through the episode. All right? Anyway, y'all, have a fantastic rest of your day. have a fantastic rest of your week. I should be back tomorrow, barring any craziness or anything that comes up, to play some more Kingdom Hearts. But until then, I will see you all. Have a great rest of your day. Have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm Young the Fair, and I'm out of here. So long. Oops. Old meme alert.